Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, the crossover is powered by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com.
Looking at
You
a list.
are a whore.
What do you mean?
Whoa.
What do you mean by that?
Come out swinging, James.
I-
10 in the morning.
But you know what?
What?
That's a term of affection
Thank you.
Is it?
because his gear is on point with stuff that he does.
It's locked on.
Well, I can't resist
stuff
a
you-
quarter zip.
Stuff you are given.
If
I know.
somebody gives me a quarter zip, I'm taking it.
Can I?
It's simple as that.
Have you been in my room? That literally is on my walls. I mean, that's literally painted.
There's a
on there.
message. that
Yeah, if
says-
somebody gives me a quarter zip, I'm taking it.
I'm taking it. I mean, there's a
Look at
few
what I'm wearing right
possible
now.
exceptions.
Show him that quarter zip on the cam. Show him that beautiful locked on
Yeah,
quarter
can
zip
you
on the
get
on the
taller for
cam.
2
There you
seconds? Yeah,
go.
pop your.
How come it doesn't say?
Boobs out.
How come it does? Because of your affiliation, do you refuse to wear anything that says Nebraska? Shouldn't
He
it say
wears
Nebraska?
Nebraska stuff
He works Nebraska women's basketball PA.
currently.
I like to just regular. I like the.
You didn't. They don't put like.
I don't think I look very good in red.
I don't
Well,
think
but
you
it can
look
still
good
be
in
black
anything.
and say Nebraska for you guys, for you and Mitch at Great Podcast.
I don't know what the process was on this.
Okay.
I don't know if that's.
It just showed up at your house.
Well, sometimes they do. I
No,
actually
it was just on the front porch.
well,
This is like,
seriously,
I totally
they
believe
do
that.
just send stuff.
Yeah.
They do just
That's
like
kinda sick.
shirts and.
Well, I've seen people wear hats. The hats aren't the greatest.
I gave a little foam baseball to my daughter. She loves it.
it says locked on.
It says locked on.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is it? Has she bit it yet?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
It, oh,
She a
okay.
daily downloader.
Yeah, she's an every dayer, as they're called.
Yeah. Is it? She's a locked honor.
That's what we call them. No, they're called everydayers.
Wait, that's an actual.
That's what they're called.
Okay.
That's what the people
They're-
who listen
they
to the
are-
Locked
they
On
are-
podcast.
They
they're
are
called.
locked in, if you will.
No, they're locked on. Stop trying to change it.
No, they're locked in on
It's
locked
already.
on.
This is already. It's already done.
LI and LO. They're locked in on locked on.
By
I'm
the
a
way,
locked in, locked on listener.
Hey, so are you going to go back to Warren's house today?
You'll be able to find it today.
No, man.
Yeah, he said he couldn't find it.
He
I
couldn't
just
find it.
okay. Here's what I get told. I get told, there's a street called Farnham.
Hey,
and you
this
just get
is
on Farnham,
no,
and you go
I
straight down
wasn't
Farnham.
sarcastic about it. I was telling you where to go, and I don't think I'm at fault for this at
No,
all.
I'm
but
kidding
why
with
don't you
you.
continue to tell the
No,
story?
no. So you told me something about Happy Hollow. Is it before Happy Hollow or after Happy Hollow?
Before.
Okay, so
There
I
is
passed.
no. They're after.
Exactly, it goes
Farnham.
right to Dodge. So then I
That's
just
right.
ended up turning on Happy Hollow.
So you missed it.
I completely.
Yeah.
I could not find it.
It's at the top of the hill.
Oh, I think I know which house then, because there was one house that kind of.
So
But
yesterday,
it's easier going from here, from the station.
you could see it better.
You could see it better
You could see it better.
instead of coming up that
So
way.
here's the latest report as of about a half hour ago.
I like that you go out of your way. Or no, maybe you cut off Dodge to go.
I haven't been lately. I've been
Okay.
taking a left on Dodge.
Okay.
Lately.
Nice.
Now you can do that. I'm told into a business.
Into a business.
Which
That's-
I,
Hey,
man,
NRG Media Omaha.
6:03 every
Yeah.
morning.
Look,
Yeah.
look,
Left
look,
into
look
this
at
business.
me. Look at me. Do you think I know the rules? I don't. I
This
don't
is
know
what
the
I've been
rules,
told.
man.
Just before you cast judgment, just know that I believe I'm within my rights to take a left on Dodge if the timing is appropriate. So I get here. I'm going up Farnham, and I'm looking for the rope in the stanchions. You know, like where are the ropes? There's no ropes. There's no ropes, but there are people who have begun to gather on the
Yes.
other side of the
What
road.
are they gathering, looking at?
They
This
want to
guy's
look
house?
at his house,
And
and,
'cause it's a very
not
modest-
just this guy.
Very modest house.
It's Warren Buffett.
Okay, so
and they
co-
take pictures of his house.
So
Yes.
does anyone live in that house anymore?
Yeah, Warren Buffett lives
Warren
in that
Buffett.
house.
Still,
I
Yes.
mean, occasionally
He
lives in that
spends a
house.
lot more time in
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Yes.
yeah.
But he does
That's his
live
house.
in that house. That's his house.
That's his primary
And
domicile.
does he ever come out and go?
I
He's
think
not in
they-
there right now. No, he's probably downtown.
Yeah,
And
I
he's
think
probably
he-
having ice cream with Paul McCartney or something.
Up until probably 6 or 7 years ago, there was not a high fence. There was not as much like security barriers around his house where you could kind of see like into.
So
He's got it's like he's got a window, a big window where you can tell like the kitchen light is
Yeah.
on. You used to be able to from the street see into his house.
it's almost like that Pope, with the Pope on the little Pope deck. Anyway,
Oh,
But-
okay.
but they
I know
have-
what you're talking
But
I know
they
the
put
Pope
up
deck.
they put up landscaping and they've made the fence higher.
the hedges are really high now.
Gotcha.
So So an update on
The
this.
hedges are higher.
The hedges are really high now. So across
I'm sorry, this is incredible. This is fun.
the across the street neighbor from Uncle Warren
Sure.
has put up ropes in their front yard because they have a bit of an elevated front yard and they have like a rock and then there's kind of a drop off. And so you could if you went up into their yard, you'd be able to see his house pretty clearly over the hedges.
Oh.
But he put a rope up in front of his house,
That's a
and
good
you may
neighbor.
not go into that guy's yard. I think he's protecting his own.
Another stupid
yard.
question here. Is this Warren Buffett's childhood house? Did he
No,
no. Okay. So this is just the house he currently lives in.
That's correct. It's his house.
It has for decades.
Okay.
It's just I don't know why people go there and look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Taking the words right out my mouth.
I'd never done that.
Yeah, it's okay to say
What
that.
is if I thought it was his childhood house? I thought it was like,
No,
hey,
you can
this
see
is-
Gerald Ford's childhood house
Yeah,
though.
that's
Yeah.
Gerald Ford died today.
Why that cracks me up so much.
You could go look at his house. It's down there.
No, I'm okay.
You
Why
can go-
not? It's a great house.
You can
fine.
go see where Wade Boggs lived for a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah. Oh, Wade Boggs was born in Omaha.
You're a wrestling fan. Ted DiBiase was born here.
Well,
Yep.
so I learned that
grade prep.
recently. I
Mhm.
learned that recently.
Yeah.
I was like,
Is-
that's cool. By the way, Ted
there an Andy
DiBiase got
Roddick
screwed
house?
over. Okay. He should have
I
been
don't know where
bigger.
that is.
Is there an Andy Roddick house?
Great
Out in the burbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
He moved early.
I thought this was Warren's childhood house, which in my head made a lot of sense. Hey, let's go and look at where one of the most wealthiest
Sure.
basketball businessmen of all time. Look where he grew up.
You think
Look,
you'd be more likely to look at that house than his current
I
house?
think that's actually, yeah, where he grew up. I actually think you could like plant that as like, this is a historical house because one of the most wealthy individuals in America grew up here.
interesting.
Like that's what they do. That's kind of a common theme in like history. Like you get to, there's multiple houses
All right.
across the world where you go, this person grew up here. For it to just be a regular old house that he bought and then he lived in, and like he's just lived there for a while. Now people stand out there and look at it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If he grew up there, I can kind of see it.
There are, according to Alan on the text line, there are about 50 people out there right now.
Jeez,
Whoa.
The crowd
doing what?
the
They
crowd
take,
is
they,
growing.
they take pictures.
They just
They
take
take
pictures,
selfies.
and then they go back
Yeah,
downtown.
It's a pilgrimage
Yeah.
for financiers.
there are 40,000 people that come to Omaha for this weekend
That's incredible.
So
because he's made them a lot of money. And
Yeah.
since we kind of did this yesterday, here's a spinoff into another topic. What's your favorite historical house?
Hmm.
Have you ever visited a historical house?
I went to Mount Vernon.
All right.
Yeah, George Washington's.
Good house.
Good house.
Yeah. Went to
What-
Mount Vernon's.
Well, that's a really good house.
And then I went to Abraham Lincoln's house in Springfield.
Okay, sure.
You ever been to Elvis's house?
I have not. No, I was supposed to go to
Elvis's house?
a house in Austria.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to that house.
That's not good.
Yeah, but we didn't end up doing that.
A house in Austria. I like how he put that.
now why do you say that
You
that's
do
not
not
a good
want to
house?
go to Mr. H's house.
Oh,
It is one of those places though where it's like historically you can see where he grew up.
That
So
is nuts.
I was supposed to go to that house in Austria.
And you declined, or it didn't work out?
A whole
Ran out of
family-
time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a whole family medical thing
Okay.
occurred. Yeah, it's a
All
long
right.
story.
I went to the Truman Show house when I was in Florida a couple summers ago, where they did the Truman Show.
Oh,
Nothing going on in there.
I went to Michael Jordan's
It's-
house. Like those gates, you can take a picture in front of the gates.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a
you guys could go to the Edison and Ford Estates in Fort Myers, where Thomas Edison
Oh
that
wow.
was his
That's sick.
Florida getaway.
Good house. Good house.
Very nice, right on the water. Got some damage from the last hurricane, but it's worth the.
Worth
It's kind of a
visit.
It's a lot of. It seems to be the price is pretty high for what you get.
I would imagine.
Like you don't see Thomas Edison.
should I drive by or should I get out
You
of the
don't
car?
Well,
see
it's right off of
Thomas
McGregor
Edison.
Boulevard, so it's like a main
Okay.
thoroughfare into downtown Fort Myers.
Okay.
But it's a walking tour.
Okay.
There's a lot of cool stuff inside of it, but it's probably one of those that you see it once, you're probably good.
Josh, you ever been to a famous house?
I'm trying to think.
You must have stumbled into
at
a
some
famous
point.
house.
I've been to some one-room schoolhouses.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Okay. Like a home.
No, it's like somebody's like
Wow.
place of birth, a historical house.
So have you pulled off the road like in an Amish community? Because that's where one-room schoolhouses still exist.
I've been in Pawnee City
Okay.
where
What are they doing out there?
they kept the one-room schoolhouse and all the old buildings. Like, hey, maybe Larry the Cable Guy walked through here. You don't know.
Oh, really? That's what they're selling? That's weird.
Yeah.
The 308, text from the 308.
At 308.
People still go to the Home Alone house all the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just a house in Winnetka. I'm sick and tired.
Oh, Winnetka. Mundelein and Winnetka.
Why
Why
is
do
he-
they exist?
Why is he always so mopey? Why are you always so mopey?
Because it's like it's
Blah,
just like
blah.
everyone's of the Home Alone house, the Home Alone house. You got to see. It's like there are 20 other houses that look like
isn't
that.
it
Why
up
can't
for-
you be excited
Isn't
about
it
your
up for
hometown?
sale?
Yeah, it was.
Like a
Yeah,
couple of
recently,
million?
recently just got put up
Mhm.
for sale. Yeah.
Why can't you be excited about your hometown?
Winnetka is not my hometown.
Yeah, it
Winnetka,
is.
No, it is
It's
not.
part of the greater Chicagoland
But
area.
it's
He's
not.
richer
It's
than
not the
Oneka.
same. All right, you got.
Winnetka.
It's not the same at all. It's like if you were.
I don't
Do you know
care.
how much I would get grilled if I was like, well, Ashland's just Greenwood, right? Or like this town is just this town. Like I would get murdered.
I don't know.
if
Gretna is
if-
Omaha.
If I said, oh, this town might. Isn't that the? If I go, oh, these two cities that are close to each other in Nebraska, aren't they the same thing? People would get infuriated.
I
at
don't
me.
think that they would.
Yes.
Like east of
Are you
Lincoln, they
kidding
wouldn't.
me?
East
Are you
east
kidding
of,
me?
East of Lincoln, they wouldn't.
Absolutely. If I put two small towns together and I said potato, tomato, tomato, potato, whatever, they'd all be mad. They would all get really mad at me.
So you think like a Bellevue would be like?
I don't
if
know
you-
enough
it-
cities to make these examples or
Okay,
analogies
so let me,
in
let me
Nebraska.
let me come up with
Okay,
one.
go ahead.
So a Bellevue,
Sure.
you're referring to Bellevue,
Yeah.
and instead, while trying to name the town, you call it Papillion.
Yes, sure.
You think the person in Bellevue
No, let
would
me
be pissed?
no, because if I called it Papillion and then you said, well, it's Bellevue, and then if I were to say, well, it's the same thing, then they would get mad, which is what you just did.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I,
it is the
in
same
this
thing.
state, yes, it would be. It would be.
Okay.
If I did that.
Winnetka,
Which is why I'm trying to hold you to the same standard here. Winnetka is not Skokie. Winnetka is Winnetka.
Winnetka, wherever you're from, Chicago, it's all the same thing to me,
No,
baby.
it is not. It's not even close.
So
Evanston.
Texture Rachel says Hatchet House used to be off Giles Road,
Whoa.
where a teacher killed students there.
Whoa.
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 You ever heard of this? The Hatchet
That's
House.
a
It's off of
transition.
Giles.
Is that haunted houses out there? The Scary Acres?
I don't know.
You know,
Just
I guess Scary
Giles Road.
Yeah,
Teacher killed
Hatchet
students.
House and the Killer Teacher, Nebraska.
Dear.
So it's legit.
This is not a haunted house. This looks like a one-room schoolhouse.
Interesting.
The article begins with "You've had teachers before, right?" So
Hey,
I'm gonna pare it down
So-
before.
yeah, it
You-
sounds like one of those recipes.
Chances you're either going to have your mind warped, you're going to be killed, or they're going to sleep with you.
Mhm.
Sounds like one of those recipe websites. Is like, when I was born, I really liked eggs.
Did you ever in Lincoln go to the Germans from Russia Museum on
I've
6th and D?
seen it? I've seen it. No,
Yeah.
never went in there.
I thought that is like the strangest sign on 9th Street. Germans from Russia.
Germans from Russia. I also really like
What?
the roller skating
Yes.
museum. It's like smack dab in the middle of town, and I always drove by there. But I'm like, are you serious? That is the Roller Skating Museum of America.
what, it's off of
on, like
40th?
33rd and Van Dorn or something like that. Like, what's going on?
Whoa.
I never went in.
All right,
This
this
is-
house is legit.
This I don't know if this is legit or just
A haunted house.
a urban legend or what.
I think this is. There was always ads about a haunted house at All Skate Arena during the Halloween time. I think this might be that haunted house that they're always promoting. That's like super super scary and meant to like, scare the bejesus out of you.
This is a one-room schoolhouse in Papillion where the teacher
Oh, I thought you were talking about Chicago stuff.
allegedly decapitated a room full of students one by one.
What?
And I don't know how you do that one by one without the kids like just sitting there.
Yeah, you
still,
probably got to
like,
dip, right?
yeah,
At
yeah,
that point,
yeah.
how
Yeah,
many?
you probably
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
probably it's a good idea.
These kids are getting decapitated. I'm out.
Are you like, why didn't they run away?
I got my hand up, teacher. Question: what are you doing? But not every story involves decapitation. Not every version of the story involves decapitation, but all the versions of the story agree on one gruesome aspect, Once the children were no longer living, the teacher carved their hearts out and threw them off a nearby bridge.
What in the hell? When
did this happen?
Yes.
The early 1900s.
Yeah, when else would it happen? I mean, this is
early 1900s. This is only 100
I can't imagine
years
this
ago.
place still exists.
The schoolhouse still exists in Papillion. It's
And then you walk into the room and you're like,
wow.
this is where a bunch of kids got decapitated.
exactly.
And their
That's exactly.
hearts were removed from their body.
That's exactly what the allure is. Why the hell would you go there?
It's
Why
a
the
great
hell would you
question.
why the hell would you go there? Yeah, Mom, I want to go and visit the place where a bunch of kids got killed, and then this very gruesome
Well,
individual did some gruesome
people-
things.
I would
to him.
agree with all of you. Yes. That
Why
seems-
would you go
seems
there?
odd.
People are all about.
I mean, they
like,
demolished the OJ house. They should just get rid of that house.
people are all about ghosts and stuff, though.
It's not like the Basilica Axe House or whatever.
Yeah.
People are super about ghosts, though.
Mhm.
I bet they feel like they can
everybody
walk in
always tells me where I live is haunted.
there. Winnetka.
No, I don't live in
I would never.
Yeah, you crack yourself up,
I do.
don't you?
I do. I really do.
No, where I currently live in Omaha, people tell me is haunted.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Your
it's a
apartment
hospital.
my
building?
apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, a former.
Nice. Nice.
They're like, people died where you went to sleep. That's what people tell me.
yeah, that's probably true of all of us
And then-
from a certain perspective.
And then like I go ahead and I go to sleep and I hear weird noises, but then it's just my noisy neighbors who like you just cannot cut it out. They're the worst.
Chris in South Carolina writes in,
Hi, Chris.
not a house, but Matt should check out the Squirrel Cage Jail in Council Bluffs.
I'll pass, man.
I don't even know what that is.
What's a squirrel cage jail?
I don't know. I do not know.
They.
I haven't even been to the zoo yet, guys.
Yeah, you're gonna want to go there first.
I'm gonna take it one step at a timer.
That's true.
They
There you go.
moved the house
Yeah.
to preserve it.
Holy
Mhm.
crap! Look at this Squirrel Cage Jail. They just got a bunch of squirrels in there behind cages. This is horrifying.
Don't be caging squirrels.
In Council Bluffs?
Yes, and there's a bunch of weird guns and stuff in there. And yeah, this is crazy. What is going on in Council Bluffs?
You learn something new every day.
Why would you? Once
now we
again,
got squirrels in cages in Council Bluffs.
this just it wraps around back to the motif of this crossover. Why the hell would people go to these places? Like, why would you go to see a bunch of caged up squirrels?
It's called supporting local business.
That's what local business. am I
I'd rather buy a
supporting?
candle
I
or
ain't buying-
something.
Do you think tariffs will affect the
they
squirrels?
have to. They
You
have
think,
to.
Wow, the squirrels are getting skinnier. Tariffs, man.
Well, this weekend was the Bigfoot conference, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it took away attendance from the Husker games.
Did you talk to
And we did
Nancy?
not talk to Harriet.
Harriet?
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Did you just guess
That was a rite
random
of
old
passage.
lady?
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you
so-
talk to Margaret?
So she has a new PR person.
What?
Oh,
The thing has exploded
wait,
because
wait.
they had to move it to Grand Island.
She's
to
strong
Fonder
arming you?
Park.
I know, yeah.
She has a PR person, but college football teams don't.
Oh, most college football teams do.
Well, once you have the Bigfoot conference and it's grown from a little get together in the Holiday Inn in Hastings to Grand Island.
So did you know that there have been like several I don't know if the right word is verified, but
I assure you it's not.
there have been many Bigfoot sightings around Lauritsen Gardens in Omaha. It's like this is the hot
What is a Bigfoot sign?
this is
sighting?
one of the hottest
Like-
Bigfoot spots in America.
What are we talking about?
Because it has tributaries and it's a lot of water near woods. So
it's just a bear flashes by and you see it for a second.
No,
You're
no,
like,
it's
oh,
Bigfoot.
I don't think it would be a
and
bear.
Harriet
there.
has come on
Dude,
the
it's
air and
Bigfoot.
said there is a family of Bigfoots that are kind of over by Plattsmouth.
So we have a Class A sighting.
Do all of you believe
Whoa.
in Bigfoot?
Well,
We gotta we gotta get this out.
I believe that
on
these
the
people
air.
are seeing
No.
things.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. These people are seeing things.
Yeah, I don't know what they're seeing.
They're
though.
not okay.
All right, so
Okay.
This is
that's a perfect way of putting it.
this is a Class A sighting submitted by witness
They're
Alan
seeing things.
Bogats on Saturday, November 30th, 2024, daylight near Lauritsen Botanical Gardens. On the 8th of November, 2024, I was in the backyard in the driveway of my ex-wife's house.
Oh.
I was standing beside my truck, putting away some tools as we were talking. I don't know what made me turn and look up the driveway, but as I did, I saw a tall, large, hairy figure walking behind a duplex behind the garage. The space between the building is approximately 20 to 25 feet. I only saw the figure for a few seconds. I turned to my ex-wife and said, did I just see what I thought I saw? She said, what do you see? I said, I believe I saw Bigfoot. Her response was, you finally saw it. She meant that she had had several encounters with this thing over the years.
Are we sure the giant Gonzalez just didn't live there?
But if you think about that
Like-
wooded area behind Lordson and then down to the
That's
Missouri
right.
River,
That's right. It's a perfect place for a Bigfoot.
yes,
That's why this is one of the most prominent sighting places in America.
Or a mangy, unhoused person.
yeah, okay.
I'll go on Odson's side here. Or someone who made event at WrestleMania 8.
So then there's all of these maps of Omaha, and
Like,
there have been four other reports.
I'm looking at your computer right now. You are scrolling for days
I'm
on
telling
that
you.
thing.
It's a very long Facebook.
They
post.
are people who put in a lot of effort.
Do not knock the convention.
I'm not knocking them.
It's,
I'm not knocking
it's now
them.
2 days.
the Bigfoot community is crazy.
I'm not knocking them.
Okay,
There's no
so-
knocks. I just think they're seeing things.
Sean, who lives in Papillion,
Hi, Sean.
he said it's
Sean.
called Portal Schoolhouse.
Mhm.
It's next to the library in downtown Papillion. You can take tours. Santa is there during the Christmas celebration.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Incredible.
because why wouldn't he be?
Incredible.
Why wouldn't he be?
Oh
Yeah,
my.
guys, come take a seat on my lap where a kid's head was cut off. Yeah, what do you want for Christmas?
She blocked the exit, by the way, so that's
Oh
Yeah,
like, what,
yeah.
what, like
I
a
don't think we were
bookcase?
I don't
being.
know,
I don't
yeah.
think we were being serious when we were trying to break down how the kids didn't escape.
How
Why
many
wouldn't
kids
they
were in
just
the class?
burn it down?
How many kids were in the class?
great question. I don't know.
I think they're all dead.
You don't think they could have maybe gathered up and got out of there before they all got
If
decapitated?
they're young enough, they're not smart
Is
enough.
this like a one gorilla versus 100 average men
Kind
type
of.
deal?
Yeah,
it
a little
almost
Who the
is,
hell
yeah.
was running Papillion back then? Just burn the place down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it? Who the hell is running Papillion now?
Why
Why
save
is
it?
it?
Whoa!
It needs burn it
Whoa.
down now.
Mayor Black.
Yeah, Mayor Black's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that house shouldn't exist.
He's seen
We'll get
so
you
much
to-
growth and development
We'll
there.
get you to meet Mayor Black this summer.
I'd like
I
to
would
do the
love
same
to. I
for
would
this
love to
city.
be. I'm trying to be in the community. I'm rappelling down a building today in the name of the community.
That's right. I keep forgetting
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I
What's
actually
your-
am allowed to say it. It's for the I talk to people, so I am allowed to slightly promote it. I am for the Sienna Francis House, who helps homeless people in Omaha. I am rappelling down the Highline building, the Highline apartment
Yes.
building in downtown Omaha.
And how did you get hooked up with this again?
They reached out to me. So one of the people, her name's Linda Twomey. Her husband is a listener to the Gary and Matt show. So apparently, what she told me was she was looking for more people to do it, and Linda's husband was like, "He's young, he'll do it." And so they reached out
Yeah.
to me.
and you did do it.
So it's
Um,
Matt and Billy the Blue Jay in Durango.
Yeah, that's what I was told. I don't
Really?
know. I haven't been told if they're going to be there or not, but I was told those were the other people that could potentially be rappelling down.
I asked him if he
Holy
thought he was
smokes.
being set up.
No, it's legit. Now I am gonna tweet out a link later today if you want to donate. Because like most people have to raise X amount of money to rappel. I don't. But if you want to donate to the Sienna Francis House,
That's
it'll be on
awesome.
my Twitter. We've raised about I think it's like $421 right now so far.
What if
for-
Billy and Durango, mess with you?
I'm gonna get really annoyed because like if they start doing like the whole mascot song and dance thing with me and like try and rile me up, like we all have talked about it. I'm not a big fan of heights, and this is gonna be a really big adventure for me.
People live in that place?
I think
And you're
so.
just
I
going to be
assume.
rappelling down?
I have
the side of
I'm
their
gonna
So
be
knock
honest
on
with
some
you.
windows.
They
Yeah.
told me. They
You
told
should
me.
stop and look in.
They told me what I'll be doing. Okay, they told me what I'll be doing. They sent me a link for people to donate to it, and they told me where to park. Okay, that's
Well, couple questions.
yeah.
Have you
Make sure you
shared
sign the
this
form.
link for people to donate?
No, I'm currently in the. There's been some
Oh, okay.
problems.
Okay,
So I'm
okay.
currently in the process of because I have to edit the page. The whole
Can we follow your escapades?
Yeah, so I'm gonna make sure that they take videos
Okay.
and whatnot, and then I'll post that after. I'm
okay.
currently
fear for your
waiting
life?
on an email to like tweet out everything I need to tweet
Do you
out.
fear for your life?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Especially like when I woke up this morning and it was raining. I was like, this
Gonna
doesn't
make
really-
everything slick.
Yeah.
What is this
doesn't really-
event called?
Over the Edge is what it's called.
All right.
So
You're familiar with another event called that, right?
no.
In Kemper Arena.
Josh, what are you talking about?
Just
Josh, nobody knows what you're talking
Nobody
about.
knows.
that young heart boy who passed on.
The young
I'm
Hart
sure- I'm
boy?
Why
sure-
are you looking at me?
I'm sure what happened to
wrestler
Owen
died in
Hart won't
Kansas
happen to
City?
you.
Owen Hart.
Oh,
Owen Hart died.
I have no
you're
idea
trying
what
to-
you're talking
yeah,
about, Josh.
I
There's
wasn't
also
really-
a famous just pure insanity, fun weekend of Over the Line in San Diego on PB.
Sure.
Okay.
Why did that was really scared when you said the young heart boy and everybody looked at me at once, like as if I was going to have all the answers.
I don't have any idea what he's talking
Well,
about.
because you know dead wrestlers.
Yes, I do.
By the way, have you noticed on your TikTok there, Connor? There is a lot of like people that have passed on that they do tributes of what they would look like now with AI.
Okay.
And there is just an assortment of wrestlers. Like it makes you realize we've lost a lot of like famous wrestlers like recently.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was following along and I'm like, I'm kind of creeped out. And then they threw a Kobe Bryant in there who would be 49. And I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was.
We need to get off my algorithm.
Yeah, AI is odd. We're in an odd place with AI right now. It's all very bad, actually.
I've been telling people. I was telling people for
it's-
years.
yeah,
I
it's
go,
all very
this is
predictable.
Pandora's box. I told people that we shouldn't have been messing with AI.
Good
All
take.
the movies were right. We've literally been warned over and over again. And all these people who think they're so smart. Oh my God, I'm so smart. I'm a scientist. We can use AI to like help us out. They're all just going to take over eventually, and it's all a slippery slope. But they didn't listen because they're all smarter than we are.
It was all very predictable.
Are you loyal to AI or Grok?
I just cannot wait to like retire up in Minnesota and Brainerd and just be on the lake and don't have to deal with anybody anymore.
I got about 40 years.
Sounds
I know.
great. Yeah.
I know. That's
You know where I'd retire?
where would you
Winnetka.
retire?
Winnetka.
Good luck getting a house there. It's the richest suburb in the
Well,
country.
that's why I got to wait till
Open a
retirement.
Portillo's.
yeah, they don't have one of those there. I know.
You guys, you know what? Just make fun of my culture all you want. Just make fun of my culture. You just make fun of my culture, man.
It's just a
You know,
town.
pretend to talk in the Chicago voice and talk about the great food we have. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
When I'm famous, I won't remember you.
Malort. From
You
the
know,
city that created Malort.
Is there anybody?
What a
like,
city.
Every bar I go to, I ask.
Dumpster.
That's a tough
Yeah.
swallow.
Every
Bad hang.
every
Super
time
popular.
I go to a bar and I ask if they have Old Style around here, no one's got Old Style.
Yeah. Malort and Old Style. A city that that really prides itself on Malort and Old Style.
I would,
What a classy
I would
joint.
take I would take an Old Style over a Reuben.
You would take an Old Style over a Reuben?
All right.
course
There's
I
a
would.
poll question.
That's such a bad take.
Shouldn't they go together?
No.
Yes.
No, they would go great together.
Would
but
you-
a Reuben or an Old Style, I would take an Old
you're
Style.
No, you would not.
Yes, I would.
You would take a
Put it
delicious
in front of me right now.
sandwich.
Put it in front of me right now. What would I rather have? I'll open up that Old Style and I'll drink it before I eat the sandwich.
You would eat a delicious.
Is this a
delicious
Chicago versus
sandwich.
Omaha thing?
This is just Cam disrespecting my culture, and I got to throw it back. All right.
Poll question up at Happer Show. Which would you rather have? Reuben, Old Style.
Hey,
Vote. It's important.
you go back and you enjoy that bean.
What do you got? What do you got? What building are we
Lawrence
looking at here?
House!
A zoo.
What are we looking at here? We got
axe
50
house.
people. We got 50 people all looking at a house that was bought 30 years ago.
hey,
oh my God!
hey.
Oh,
We're
it was
building
way
a big
more than
building.
30.
Look how big our buildings are.
Hey,
All right, Chicago Crabs buildings that are
We
bigger than
got-
the one that are here in Omaha.
we got
All right?
this. We got this display downtown of the Wild Wild West.
Everybody's like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God!"
Yeah.
the
Have you
Omaha-
seen that? The
Have
mural?
you seen the mural of the
Omaha
Wild Wild
skyline.
West?
The Omaha skyline's gonna get better. I go, "What skyline? What skyline? There's
It's
no
beautiful.
sky.
You
There's
can
no
see it from
skyline."
many states away. Many states.
All three of our buildings.
Go to the roller derby museum.
That's in Lincoln.
Yeah, we don't care about Lincoln.
Okay,
This
yeah,
is an
screw that
Omaha
place.
thing.
They all can get it.
I mean, there is no group that comes to Chicago to go see someone's house in a chartered bus.
That's exactly right.
but they do in Omaha.
They wouldn't dare.
There
No,
are
they don't go
look
to
at all of the,
Obama's
Look at all the
house.
chartered buses that are
We
coming up
have
and down
like
Dodge.
national museums
Yeah.
and,
No,
and
hey, Let me
libraries.
tell you
and
something.
like
You know who sucks? You know who really fell off? Chance the Rapper.
I totally agree.
What happened to that guy?
Great take.
Chicago's very own. Chance
I
the
saw him.
Rapper.
I saw him
You know,
perform
I'd
at the
say-
Winter Classic. He
I'd
was
say
awful.
Chance the Rapper is a lot like Chicago in a way. You know, just at one point was really good, and then
Alrighty, that's the crossover presented by.
Ever level.
the
go ahead.
Bulls-
Go ahead and have
the
your
Bulls were
Rubens.
good
Go
ones.
ahead and have your Rubens.
Yeah.
You wish you
Hey,
could have
today
the
is
food.
City Connect jersey day
you-
for the White Sox. With
Yeah,
the Bulls
perfect
look.
Yeah.
two franchises together. They
yeah.
both suck.
Oof.
You wish you could have the buildings and the food and the culture and the museums and just the pure rich history
Hey,
that we have.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Hey, when was the last
basketball.
time? When was the last time the state of Nebraska took home a championship in anything in major sports? Because we got a couple. We got a couple in baseball. Got a couple in hockey.
DePaul basketball, Northwestern basketball.
Northwestern basketball
very good.
over the last couple of years has been way better than Nebraska basketball. Way better. We've actually, funny thing is, Northwestern basketball has made tournaments and won tournament games. Something that the people in Lincoln haven't done.
Well, there's another school.
We don't have to talk about that. We don't have to make those comparisons.
All right.
It's all in good fun.
You think about that a little bit.
All good fun. Think
Omaha,
about what?
Chicago.
Think about what? You know that you can tee off and take shots at Chicago, and no one is going to come back at you. I can't say too much about Omaha because I live here, and people would get mad at me if I said some things. So you know that I'm fighting with one hand behind my back.
They should say
I'm like Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Chicago's the gateway to Omaha.
That's what they've always said about Chicago.
Definitely.
Yep. When you're on the Dan Ryan
Chicago flyover
when
city.
you're on the Edens Expressway.
What? By the way, Eppley Airfield.
It's
right?
amazing.
Eppley Airfield.
Have you seen what it's going to be in 2028?
Exactly. Eppley Airfield. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to have construction. What do they keep saying? It's going to be the new O'Hare.
No, they don't say that. They say it's a new Kansas City.
They pay people to fly to Chicago from Eppley.
Shoot, can I? Can you get me on that? Can you find out that for me, please?
Yeah, it's a gateway to Omaha.
People.
A lot of places say that. Des Moines. Like Chicago is the gateway to Omaha, and Des Moines is the halfway gateway.
That's what people are saying. I can't tell what people are saying. They're just saying that.
I mean, we're not saying that, but other people are.
People are saying.
Every time I hear people, they're always
saying.
They're always saying.
Yeah, we are just relaying the message.
Yeah, they're always saying stuff like that. All right, you guys have a great weekend.
You have a fun weekend too.
I will. I plan on it. How do you enjoy that building? You get to see Omaha's skyline.
You'll be fine.
It's gonna be.
Now, do you have a? Are you by yourself?
Scared S-less?
You have to have a a repeller that is attached to you, right?
Can you live stream this?
Diaper?
Like you're not by yourself, right? There's like somebody attached to you.
No, there's someone that will be up there that will be helping me. I don't think
He's going down there by himself.
I think I'm going down there on my own.
You and Billy and Durango.
Well, just make sure when you jump off the side and you rappel out, make sure it's way out, and then you come back in, and then you go way back out.
You're gonna be You're gonna be great.
I'm not gonna.
This is not like doing the climbing wall at Dick's.
You can do hard things.
I did do the climbing wall at Dick's.
They don't have those anymore.
The thing is that Chicago's a big enough city where we can have Dick's that have climbing walls regularly.
Oh, ours went away years ago.
We don't need climbing walls. We go to the Les Hills, and we can climb right up and down them.
We got skiing.
Nature.
We go to Wisconsin for that.
Well, we can stay right here.
Well, kind of.
It's Metro Omaha.
Yeah.
Greater Omaha land.
We can make. You know what? We can make.
Omaha.
We can make bets on our phones in Chicago. So screw you.
So can you in the Greater Omaha land.
Yes,
in the Greater
you don't
Omaha
get to have Iowa. You don't get Iowa.
You said it yourself. It's right on your way to the airport.
No, you don't have to get two cities. You don't get two cities. That's not how this works.
All right, that's Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Friday, we'll start things off next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Good luck to our good friend, Matt McMaster, rappelling off that building today.
He's going to do great.
I think so.
Nothing to be scared of.
That takes some real guts.
It actually does.
Takes some real guts. I would not have agreed to that.
We poke fun at our friend.
They would have really had to convince me that I was doing something completely different, and then at the last second pull the plug and say, actually, you're rappelling off the building.
Hey, I know we told you that it's going to be a wing eating contest, but
you're actually rappelling off a building, and you're already committed, and we can't. It's too late to find a replacement.
We've already advertised you as a participant.
Yes, they would have done me dirty, and that's the only way that I would have been able to do that. So kudos to Matt. Brandon tweets into the show.
Hi, Brandon.
I sense some friction between Connor Happer and the young Matt McMedia. Tell me I'm wrong. I think, maybe there's a big brother, little brother situation going on there.
So it's all good.
I'm the
right?
little brother, obviously.
It's all love, right?
Oh, it's all love. It's all love. I love giving Matt a hard time. It is one of my favorite things to do, actually.
You're pretty good at it.
Thank you. Well, he's kind of an easy target. I'm a bully. I'm sorry.
Well, when you get that reaction,
I'm a bully.
It's hard to
I know.
Stop.
Yeah. I really found that I really hit the button there with the Chicago.
I know I'm going to get a rise out of him, so I got to do this.
Theo says Matt is the next great radio stuntman.
Wow.
American flag. Yeah, seriously, we got to get videos of this. I gotta see this. Matt rappelling off of a building. That's out of control. Good job by him. All right, we're here on a Friday. Brian Munson's going to join the show. There is some recruiting to talk about. Josh, just a fair warning: when you put on a hat, you better keep that hat on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's going to be a bunch of people who are mad at you.
Wow, what a soft-ass society we live in.
100%. Also, the person that we're referencing is 2027 quarterback commit Trey Taylor, who is not yet, who is finishing up currently his sophomore year of high school, if my math is correct.
Okay.
Which, when I was finishing up my sophomore year of high school, Josh, I believe that would have made me either 15 or 16 years old.
That's right.
And then on the other side, we had 7-year college quarterback Luke Altmaier, who was angry and then deleted his tweet. Luke Altmaier has been in college for a very long time. He's transferred. He's now been in Illinois for 3 years, and he was at Ole Miss for a year or two or whatever. He's been around for a long time. He's probably 24 years old, at least.
An adult.
We're talking about, just pick on somebody your own size, bud. Okay. Luke Altmaier's getting mad about what a guy does. The recruit, we're talking about a sophomore in high school. All right, calm down, everybody. What happened to us?
Well,
we can't even do recruiting hat videos right anymore.
Well, Illinois has never been in the situation where they have been vying for a recruit, so they've never been hatted before, I imagine.
Now, I'm told this kid is from the Chicagoland area.
Oh, no.
And, the Illinois people get really frustrated when, the Chicagoland area kid doesn't go there. So we'll get the lowdown with Bryan Munson coming up in about 20 minutes. BC, Brian Christopherson at 11:30 and Steve Sipple at 12:30. That's the lineup powered by the Referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you all today. 402-951-1620 on the hotline. Call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Instructions on Twitter feed. Email Connor Josh Show at 1620thezone.com. on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. What's up, everybody? What's up? How we doing? How we doing today?
I'm doing good. How's everyone else doing?
I'm doing. I don't want to say how I'm feeling right now,
Okay.
but I'm doing good.
Okay.
Let's just say that I'm doing good because I don't want to say anything out loud. about how I'm feeling. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, you got to flush it.
Right. Exactly. One day. One day, don't feel excellent, but we're going to work through it. Just got a tweet from at Gary Sharp 1620.
Hi, at Gary Sharp 1620.
You thought we were joking. Buses piling up to Warren's Casa, and there is a picture of a Windstar Tour Line bus that is headed into the direction of Warren Buffett's house. That's right. And all the tourists from all the different places around the country will get off, take a picture, get back on the bus, and go back downtown.
Wow.
It's happening.
What a tweet.
We got to get a live report from over there.
Oh, hey, okay. Matt has also tweeted the Over the Edge promotion.
There you go. Today at 4:30.
Oh, right there in the Grum.
I might have to go over there. I got to see this. If you see a guy flying outside of a building with a rope attached to him, screaming,
you're gonna sit there and gawk for a couple minutes. That's allowed.
Yeah, I think so. So that's the lineup. The rest of the show today, I have a various things that I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on. Greg McDermott, honk honk, went on the program yesterday and talked about a variety of different things. Thank you. Mike Trout is headed to the injured list again. Very interesting.
This is not a repeat from 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019.
It just happened again.
Okay.
It just happened again.
Wow.
He was mostly healthy until like the last 3 years. Nebraska added a kicker? Question mark? I will tell you the offseason phase that I'm in beginning really right now around this time of year, and we'll discuss it today on the show. Big baseball series this weekend. Nebraska hosting Minnesota. I don't think Creighton has to sweep at Butler, but at the same time, Butler's RPI is like 279, I think. So you're probably going to want to win all three. Yeah. And you're still in the Big East title race out there. I have a video that will make everyone triggered. And it is Derby weekend. And this will also double as the weekend, I believe, where people actually start caring about the NBA playoffs. We already have one Game 7 lined up. Game 7. And we might get another Game 7 lined up for this weekend. And then we're also in that period of time in the NBA where like the Game 7s and the Game 1s of the next series are on the same day.
Yeah.
That's always really weird to understand and comprehend. But this is the weekend in which that happens. So very, very pleased that you are with us today. We have a fun Friday show coming up for you, hopefully, assuming we're both funny.
Oh,
no guarantees there.
Well, I mean, I can bleep in a box. I got time, but what
is that?
Tommy Boy guarantee.
I could put the guarantee on the box.
Mm-hmm.
I could take a dump in a box.
And,
I think,
stamp a guarantee on it.
Put a guarantee on it.
I got time.
I got you. I got time.
Thank you.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a couple things here. So, number one, a text from the 308.
A 308.
Coincidentally, Luke Altmaier has been in college as long as Tommy Boy and is also not a doctor.
A lot of people go to college for 7 years.
Yeah, they're called doctors. And this from Shams Sharania. Josh.
Hi, Shams.
Shams has a tweet for us. Breaking.
Oh, no.
Greg Popovich will no longer be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning to the full-time team president role.
Okay.
Sources told ESPN. The iconic Popovich is a basketball Hall of Famer, the NBA's all-time winningest coach, and led the Spurs to 5 championships. He did not coach at all this season.
Missed a lot of last season too,
Missed
right?
a lot of last. I think so. Yeah.
I thought he was just sitting out until they got better, and then he'd come back.
Kind of got the sense that it was going to end up this way. They were going to decide at the end of it. Yeah, I think we've reached the end of the line. So, kind of surprising, honestly, that he moves into the team, president role. I always felt like when Pop was going to be done, he was just going to be done, and we would never ever hear from him again. It's kind of the way he's always approached things. But we haven't got we missed Pop in prime Pop when he was, really.
I love that thing
short
he did,
and snarky with the media,
yeah, where he called sideline reporters idiots.
Yeah, I love
all
that.
the time.
I love that too. That was great.
What a great bit.
That sounds sarcastic, Josh. It's
Hey, person who's probably a woman, let me talk down to you while you're just trying to do your job.
Are you calling Pop a jackwagon?
He has a couple jackwagon tendencies.
He does some jackwagony things, but he's good at coaching basketball, Josh.
He is.
Or he was. Now,
I think he probably
still could.
If you gave him a chair and like some creature comforts, right?
Yeah.
They don't let you do that in the NBA, though.
People are already speculating that that is a potential landing place for fired Denver Nuggets coach Michael Malone.
Oh, okay.
I guess him and Pop are pretty cool.
Okay. Way to fall up.
There you go. There's
lateral. I don't know.
There's some NBA.
Look at that.
Who said we didn't talk about the NBA?
I talked about the NBA a lot on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
The audience was thrilled.
We talked about LeBron for at least 10 minutes yesterday.
We did a chit-chat segment.
And we did a whole chit-chat segment where I gave a take, but I said, I'm not necessarily saying this. Don't put it on the internet that I'm saying this. But here would be the case if I was saying it, which I love doing segments like that.
Should I have leaned into the bit more and got yelly about it?
No.
Just taking the other side and started yelling at you?
No, I think you did fine.
Okay.
No, I think you did fine. I can't. There's some things about LeBron that are sort of indefensible, but the LeBron stans are they're crazy and they're everywhere. All right, so last night, this will be a good segue into Brian Munson, who will join us in a couple minutes here. Nebraska got a commitment from 2027 quarterback Trey Taylor. Tiny baby boy. Just a little guy. 15.
Just a little guy.
He's 15, 16 years old, but in a couple years he'll be a bigger man and he will be ready to play college football. Nebraska has Dylan Raiola. They have now on campus TJ Lateef from the 2025 class. They have committed Dayton Raiola for the 2026 class, and they now have committed their quarterback for the 2027 class in Trey Taylor. The first question that I know everybody is wondering about is, what are the chances that Trey Taylor actually ends up ever playing it down for Nebraska? And I don't know how they could be any better than 50-50 at this moment in time, considering what recruiting means in this day and age.
It's a lot of quarterbacks you listed.
But the commitment is what the commitment is, and it signals him getting in the boat and all the things like that. I personally don't need to talk about what the quarterback room is going to look like at Nebraska potentially in 4 years, because I think it's a meaningless exercise, considering everything that I just said. So with that being said, let's focus on something different, like the way Trey Taylor committed last night.
Okay, what could be so outrageous about that, Connor?
He went on live on 24/7 Sports and sat at his high school at a table with all of his friends and family behind him. And he had, I think, 4 hats laid out on the table. He grabbed a Texas A&M hat.
Oh, Trev.
And quickly tossed it to the side.
Smart kid.
He grabbed it. He didn't put it on. Tossed it to the side. Then he grabbed the Illinois hat. And he firmly put it on his head.
Oh.
And stood up. It's like, that's right. I'm going to Illinois.
The thing we've seen 100 million times over the last 25 years.
And then he took it off and he's like, psych! And then he put on the Nebraska hat and then pulled down his jacket to reveal a Nebraska cream baseball jersey, and all of his family were wearing Nebraska shirts as well, and said, I'm going to the University of Nebraska when I turn 18 in 5 years, whatever that might be. He made his commitment known. And the people in Illinois did not take this well. It's shocking. Like Josh said, this is one of the old school recruiting moves in the book. I mean, one of the oldest tricks in the book, right? You put 4 hats on the table and you fake pick up one. Maybe you put one on and you rip it off, or maybe you put one on and then you unzip your quarter zip and look, there's a shirt on, and you take off that shirt.
Yeah.
And there's a different shirt.
Number of ways to do this, right?
By the way, I've talked about this a little bit. We have totally reverted back to like square one in the recruiting game. I thought, so you talked to me back in like 2015, 16, somewhere. We were getting awfully close to having like full length feature films as commitment videos.
They were getting so long.
And then I think what happened was like COVID just reset everything for some reason.
You think you'd have more time to make a video.
I know. And now we're back to graphics and picking up hats. It's very interesting. It's like the Stone Age of recruiting videos again. It's very interesting. So specifically, current starting quarterback and old man Luke Altmaier got triggered at Trey Taylor on the internet in a now deleted tweet, and said that he was a joke or so. I can't remember what the exact wording was. And he rallied all of Illini Nation, all 6 of them, behind him, and said, let's go get this 15-year-old. Everybody get out your pitchforks. And so then the 15-year-old had to go outside of his school and record a nice, polite video saying that he was apologizing and he made a mistake and this isn't him and all of these things. And guess what? That didn't fix anything either with the Illini fans, but I don't think that Trey Taylor ever should have cared about this at all.
No.
This is hilarious.
Imagine caring
about
this.
And then people come up to Nebraska fans and they say, well, you just can't. I mean, what if this had happened to you? You'd be pissed. Not if I was a sane human. Am I sane in this situation? No. Then I wouldn't. If I am sane, then I would not have been angry. I would not have felt emotion toward the person faking putting on a hat that was my school. Once again, we're talking about a sophomore in high school, upcoming rising junior in high school. If I'm a sane person, I am not feeling any sort of emotion or any feelings whatsoever about a kid putting on the hat of my school, taking it off in favor of another hat. None.
Nebraska has to have been one of the hats that was thrown off a table at one point. Nothing immediately comes to mind, but it has to have happened, yes?
I think so. I can't remember it, probably because, once again, I'm a sane person.
The only thing that pops into my head is Bubba Starling.
When he chose the Kansas City Royals?
Yeah, over Nebraska.
Did people get mad at Bubba?
That is not an apples-to-apples comparison because he chose money over
several million dollars.
Over no money.
Yep. Charles writes in, don't put it on the internet that Happer is sane. No.
You could maybe put that one on the internet.
Put that on the internet, actually.
Tell everyone.
Yeah. If in the scenario that you're laying out, I am a sane person, then I would not care about this. In my current situation, I believe is that I am sane. So even if I was wearing a Illini blue and an orange, I would not care about this because once again, I am sane. But we're dealing with a whole bunch of insane people, it seems, Josh. And for them, I cannot answer to their problems. They'll have to turn to their king, Luke Altmaier. 24-year-old Luke Altmaier.
I wish I had something more in the middle for Illinois fans. Like,
no,
literally the only thing I can tell you is to get over it. Like, I'm sorry. I wish I could help you cope better, but
you're going to just have to eat this one.
Yeah, sorry.
That's kind of the deal.
Hey, maybe in 2 years you can re-recruit him.
Yeah. I don't know. And I don't know what they felt like from their standpoint too, but it felt like the tea leaves were on this one that he was going to go to Nebraska for like a couple of weeks now, but I don't know. Once again, I don't care because I am sane. Put it on the internet that I am sane. That would be my my advice to you guys.
Connor is sane. Okay.
From the 402.
Hi, 402.
So did Emmitt Smith do the hat thing?
I saw a little bit of chatter about that yesterday. I didn't dive too deep into it though.
I don't remember what Emmitt Smith. I know he was considering Nebraska, but
Gator. Who's a Gator, right?
I believe that's right. And the they just I didn't know that they were doing the hat spec then.
Wow.
During that period of time, I don't remember his commitment video or if there was a video at all. All right.
I believe it was chiseled into the side of a cave.
Into stone. All right.
We love Emmitt Smith. I'm sorry.
For more on this, Brian Munson joins on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're joined now on the hotline by Bryan Munson from HuskerOnline.com. Munson, hello. Good to chat again. How are we doing today?
We've got some new content, I think, right?
We do. People, the hat game is apparently making people mad again, which is good. I was explaining to Josh, I feel like we've done a good reset here in the recruiting world where the hats are back, and I guess they're also back to making people angry.
Yeah, let's bring them back. I really liked the hook or the draw that he kind of put on that one too, because it was very like Bryce Harper charging the mound, whipping his helmet at the San Francisco Giants pitcher, and he had that elbow kind of coming through there, man. I mean, it was pulling it down. So he did that. He had some gusto on that throw with the Illinois cap, and I think Nebraska fans probably heart skipped a beat for a minute, and then probably into full laughter. I'm guessing that's kind of what I think that probably their response to that whole thing was. But I mean, look, he needs to have some fun, because let me give you a little background on Trey Taylor. So this is a guy that hasn't even he's not even finished his sophomore year of high school. So put this all into perspective. He's probably 16. I've never asked him, but I'm sure he's probably like 16 years old, right? And he is mature beyond his years. And I tend to use that description a lot when it comes to quarterbacks, because obviously you don't want an immature person back there. They're going to have to be an extension of the coaching staff, and Trey's kind of been brought up in it, right? Like his dad's in the Circle Hall of Fame, and he was a great college running back. He's been coached up and played the game basically since he was like 3 years old, I think he said yesterday, and then tackle since he was like 5 or 7 or whatever. It's just crazy, but here we are 9 years later from basically where he was starting to do tackle football, and he signed, basically committing to a D1 school. So I think there's probably time here to take a big deep breath and exhale a little bit, because he's achieved his goals. I mean, in a lot of different ways. I mean, it's like, hey, you still got to get there, and yeah, you'd hope you could stay healthy those last 2 years of high school, and you're wanting to help recruit, for Nebraska, both 2026 and 2027 classes. So this is I think where things go next with Trey Taylor. I can see him being ultra involved in what's kind of going on in the recruiting side. I think he's really interested in trying to get the right people to join him. And I'll tell you what, just by him joining, the parlay here is for Nebraska is that you can continue to get receivers like Cortez Mills and Isaiah Mosey that want to follow quarterbacks like Trey Taylor. That's going to happen almost like automagically, right? Like it just kind of, you have one, it enables the other. So Trey just needs to figure out who those guys are that Nebraska is saying are on their board, and go out there and just, do your best to kind of communicate with them.
How do you sort of square up, all the things that you just said? You should be excited about getting a quarterback commit, and it's early, but he's ranked the way he is, and has the interest from the schools that, are some of the best around the country. And also that Nebraska now feels good about its commitments from, going back to 2024, 2025, 2026, and now 2027. This is a little further down the line now, and we know all that happens in recruiting and how much it can change very, very quickly, much less, 2 years out. How do you square all the excitement up with the idea of, oh, we got a long way to go before Trey Taylor ever plays at Nebraska?
Well, and that's your long-term view. I think, I put down I put it in Tunnel Talk this morning, and I think I put it in 3 and Out or maybe it was in his commitment articles yesterday. It's all running together. It's all one big blur. I think that this is the earliest that a quarterback has ever committed in Nebraska. I think before him, it might have actually been Dayton Raiola. And that was, Dayton like just past mid-September junior year, right? So we're getting back like what, 5 months, 4 months or so, like earlier than what Dayton did before. So I think that that's kind of your first perspective, is that this guy's not going to be really an impact for us on the field for a couple of years. You've already kind of, I think, addressed the most important critical position in that class. I think that we would all kind of agree that as we're kind of looking at things, that's a very important position potentially if, Dylan decides he's going to be at Nebraska for 4 years, or if he's going to go pro after 3. I think you got a decision kind of looms there. You've already kind of seen what the portal and competition, does to rooms, with, Nebraska taking 2 Elite 11 guys between Kalen and Raiola, and how one guy already decided to leave, and people are already throwing names out about like who could be the next and whatever. Like, what? Just tap the brakes just a second, because you're 2 years away from Trey getting to Lincoln. Number one, you're still a year away from Dayton getting to Lincoln. Number two, and I think that you've got some things here that have to kind of fill in beforehand. And there's obviously some guys that are on the depth chart, like Davia, that you got to figure out, like, does he continue to fit, or was it kind of a stopgap thing? I mean, how does all this stuff kind of work out? And that's why you got your GM. That's why you got people to kind of go back and take a look at the rooms and give the feedback. So I think that's the first part. I really do. And then I think it's like after that, it's like you're really trying to hope that you can ride a wave that should have been there with Dylan, that was really given to the Bulldogs because he didn't switch his commitment until December. And now you want to kind of get as much time running with Trey, for the next year and a half or two to build the next couple of classes. Right. And I know that we're talking about lower numbers in 2026, number one, but that's fine. And I think that we can kind of expect lower numbers, like in general, kind of moving forward with the 105. But I think also Nebraska has done a recommitment to better caliber players and not chasing guys that they don't feel like could make the 105. So they've really reset that board to a higher caliber player and saying, if we can't get this guy, we might as well just go ahead and just leave with what we got and then address needs in the portal if we need to do it.
Hey, so moving back then to 2026, because Taylor's a 2027 guy, as you mentioned.
Yep.
And there's only, like you said, maybe there's a bit of a reset to go after the type of players that you feel like, hey, you're going to put them in position to be capable to compete for the 105 right out of the gate. Otherwise, why even take them in the first place? So there's that piece of it for sure. But you only have 3 in the class right now. It's May. You're going into camp season and all of those things. How fast do we need to see this thing start to take off a little bit? Are they behind the 8 ball right now for 26?
So it depends on how you look at it. Could they have had more players in this commitment class by now if they decided to go ahead and keep the original board they had last year? That answer is absolutely. You can take a look around at some border state schools, I think, very easily, and kind of circle some names and say, I could have seen him committing to Nebraska, and this guy and that guy and that guy. It could be as maybe 7, could have got up to maybe 9, possibly as high as 10. But I think Nebraska did the right thing. They kind of squelched it all and just said, we don't know how 105 is going to impact us, number one. Number two, let's go back to the guys we've been recruiting, and can we honestly tell ourselves that those guys would be a 105 player, not just in year 1, but in year 2? Or where does that kind of rubber start hitting the road to where I'm having to have a conversation with a guy that's just got here 18 months ago? I mean, that's kind of the downside of where you're kind of thinking about. And I think that, it was interesting also, if you kind of go back to like Matt Rule's comment about, serving 2 masters.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of understand what that meant. You have the people that want you to take every Nebraska kid possible, and then you have the guys that say, well, you're going to have to be successful to stay. And typically when the people have tried before him have had tried to support the two masters versus just paying attention to the one, they've lost their jobs. And I think it's not just local kids to the state border. I would include border states. I would include geographical 500-mile radius guys too, because we're seeing far fewer of those guys even as well when it comes to how the rest of this board is kind of stacking up. Go back and take a look. I mean, at the 19 or 18 official visits that we have kind of, or maybe it's like, no, it might be like 25. The 25 or so odd official visitors that we have kind of targeted already or kind of already confirmed, look at where they're from. And you'll already see that that's kind of gone away. I think Nebraska still, tries to stay true and realizes the advantages, I think, of doing obviously in-state, border state, working out from there into the Big Ten footprint. But then to really grab the guys, I think that they feel like are, obviously long-term players that remain in 105. They're seeing Texas kids, they're seeing Georgia kids, they're seeing Florida kids, they're seeing California, Arizona. Arizona's quietly a big time targeted state by this staff this year. So yeah, I think that's I think it's all kind of related, man, but there's a lot of things that are changing right now that it's really hard to kind of like not swirl with all the topics.
How do they approach it with guys, coming in this summer who they might be getting a first look at? Now, all of a sudden by this summer, you're late in the recruiting process for 2026 guys, or getting late anyway. You hear of schools who talk about, we need to see them in camp before they commit or before we really, really attack them in recruiting. At the same time, like I said, it's going to be a little bit later in the process. Like, how do you square that whole thing up as well?
No, and that's a great point, because somebody asked the question in our chat on Wednesday, like, who did everybody feel like out of the 2026 class? Like, who were the defensive linemen that were going to have an impact? And the answer back to that person was, how does anybody know? I mean, none of those guys are in Lincoln. Malcolm Simpson still, wanted to play high school football. I mean, a guy like Jeremiah Jones had a lot of pressure not to sign with Nebraska down the final stretch of the recruiting season last year in December. That you and I know about that. I mean, how does he fit? Where does he fit? Like Cade Pedshock, man. I mean, I absolutely loved his film, and he's coming off of a little bit of an injury, and Tyson Terry obviously coming off of an injury, but you got Sean Hammerbeck, and even like a guy like Juju Marks. Like where does he kind of come in? And there's obviously now with Seagren leaving as an offensive tackle, there's a need for somebody to kind of step in there, start building depth at offensive tackle again. So I think it's one of those deals, right? It's like, who's coming in and getting to work? Who's just putting their head down? Who's putting in the time? Who are the folks that you feel like are going to be ready come August? And then there's going to be a very quick evaluation, I think, on the players about the categories are going to be, could see the field this year and likely won't. Yeah. And then I think that you're going to start seeing that kind of, particularly at defensive line, because I think there are some depth concerns, and I think that there are some possibilities for some guys to, if you come in ready, you could potentially find yourself into some sort of a rotation. And I think as long as you're kind of in this format here, I almost think that like the red shirt stuff is kind of
throw it out the window.
Value.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys right now, they want to play, and the way that the business has kind of been drawn up, you need to get value out of these guys the minute that you can, and that could be as a freshman, a true freshman, but you better be getting into it in year 2. Otherwise, you're talking about a guy that probably doesn't fit in the 105, right. And that's just reality.
Munson, before we let you go, any thoughts on the Marty Brown situation that ended in his commitment to Miami a day or two ago?
Yeah, that's tough because obviously I put in Tunnel Talk this morning. I'm a little concerned with the running back room, but I think Nebraska obviously has a bigger picture. You know, you now see Genatone's name showing up at running back, so maybe they feel like between maybe he or Booth, you know, that they could be kind of a thumper guy that can kind of do something, you know. And I would have really have liked to see Charmore join the team, but I don't think he was getting out of that process with Nebraska, like the feeling that it was really kind of a mutual, like, I want to be there, we want you here kind of feeling. And, you know, he didn't get recruited by Nebraska out of Creighton Prep. And I think that he kind of hoped that was going to happen. And I don't know, like when you walk in there as a portal transfer versus a high school, like senior or junior, I think it's a very different environment and very different setting. And you really can't anticipate like, oh, let's give you the tour and how are mom and dad doing and blah, blah, blah. It's almost like switches over from like amateur innocence to a business trip. And I'm not sure, like, maybe that was totally and fully understood, but I think he's going to a great place, obviously, and maybe there's still a chance for Nebraska and he to reconnect down the road, but he is definitely worthy of the hype. Always been a fan of his, and I felt like he was a D1 guy right out of high school, no doubt.
Yeah. And he runs for over 1,000 yards at North Dakota State last year, and then he ends up at Miami. So a nice little upward progression for him. Okay, Munson, great stuff as always. All of a sudden, you got yourself a little busy again as you jump right back into it. Appreciate it as always. Talk to you later.
Have a great weekend.
All right, that's Bryan Munson from HuskerOnline.com. The weekend is on for Bryan Munson. Fire up the 17 grills.
Cheers.
Whatever you got. We're watching MLB Network.
What do they got going on there today?
So they were talking about catchers. How fast they're throwing it to second base.
Oh, faster than ever. Probably. I don't know.
So, I don't know either. Just fast. They were highlighting all of the catchers that throw it really fast to second base. And one of the names that was up there was Luke Maley, and it had a Royals logo by him. And I was like, wait a minute, Luke Maley does not play for the Royals, but he does. He plays for the Royals. He just plays for their AAA team.
Oh,
so I don't know. They just included they didn't include the Omaha Storm Chasers logo.
Well, that's nice.
There on MLB Network, but apparently he's throwing the ball down to second very fast. We love when that happens.
Well, if you had your chance between fast and slow, you would take fast.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Good take by you.
That'd be a good deal. I was also looking at the longest hit streaks in baseball. You know, Bobby Witt Jr.'s at 22. He's still a ways off. Joe DiMaggio's 56.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the next closest one has been since that happened?
Since DiMaggio?
Since DiMaggio's 56 in a row in 1941.
You mentioned somebody who got to like 40.
So, well, there's a recent one that I can mention, but the closest anyone has got since it's happened was Pete Rose, 44 in 1978.
Okay.
Reese, and then a lot of them are in the 20s and like the 1800s. And Paul Molitor, 39 straight in 1987.
Okay, that is in my lifetime.
Jimmy Rollins, 38 straight. But it spanned over 2005 and 2006.
Yeah, so people were like, this doesn't really count, even though like technically it would have counted.
So then the one that I always remember was Luis Castillo in 2002. He had 35 in a row. Chase Utley had 35 in a row in 2006. And I always forget the bright shining moment of the Kansas City Royals post 2017, pre 2022 or 3. Whit Merrifield hit in.
Get a hit, Whit.
Whit Merrifield hit in 31 straight games over 2018 and 2019 during those seasons. But not a lot of recent guys on here. You just don't see it much, Josh.
So essentially in this millennium.
I mean, that wasn't all of them, but
post 2000.
You want to do in this post 2000? Okay, I'll tell you exactly what we have.
I mean, nobody. I mean, like
J-Roll
halfway is how far you're getting.
So J-Roll 38. Castillo, 35. Utley, 35.
That rings a bell now that you say it.
Dan Ugla, 33 in
Dan
2011.
Ugla had a 33-game hit streak.
Yeah, amazing.
Those must have been a lot of dongers.
I guess so. Whit Merrifield, 31. Albert Pujols, who's in our chat
He's
today.
in our chat, by the way.
Albert,
spreading misinformation.
Fake news. Albert Pujols is in our chat today. Albert Pujols hitting 30 in a row in 2003.
Shout out Albert.
Willie Taveras, 2006, hitting 30 in a row. Moisey Alou, wonder how much pee he had on his hands in 2007. Ryan Zimmerman, 30 in a row. I remember that one. Andre Ethier, 30 in a row.
There's a name.
In 2011. It's interesting how random these names are, too. There also was there has been a 50-game hit streak in the minor leagues for Francisco Mejia in 2016. But really nothing that has even approached this.
Very surprised Luis Ariz hasn't been able to cobble something together.
Well, he's going to hit 400.
He's going to hit 400.
Put it on the bottom of the screen for the entirety of the year. You never know.
MLB Network did that last May.
So
2 Mays ago.
Bobby Witt Jr. has reached 22. Our sweet, sweet, sweet baby boy. And
they got the Orioles this weekend. They don't pitch very well right now.
They give up hits. Mm-hmm. But it goes to show you how kind of random it is. I mean, Joe DiMaggio is obviously not that random, but like, it is not a requirement that you're a Hall of Fame baseball player to reach a 30-game hit streak.
Like, you didn't say Ichiro in there.
I did not say Ichiro. Nope, no Ichiro to be found. All right, we'll be back. Brian Christopherson joins us on the other side. Talk some football with him next on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian.
Brian Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B. Rooney drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Derby weekend, which means Brian Christopherson has his big hat on. Isn't that right, BC?
Yeah, I'm glowing in it too. I look good.
How was your trip last weekend?
It was awesome. Played 3 golf courses in 3 days. Beautiful course up in Wisconsin, topped the list. Even though it's barely Packer country, it was just on the border, so I guess that's acceptable. And watched the Wild lose in overtime. Minnesota Wild in a playoff hockey game.
It's a playoff hockey game, though.
Playoff hockey is incredible.
Fantastic. Excellent. Good trip. And now back to talk about, well, mostly
Transfer
Marty.
kickers, yeah.
Transfer kickers. Okay, let's just start there. Because I was going to,
sorry.
No, that's good. This is a good detour because I was going to ask you the same question that you've been asked 400 times about the running backs and things like that. So let's go to kicker. Nebraska, surprise, in like late night last night, picked up a kicker to add to their kicker room, which already had 2 kickers. It's kind of, it's at the very least, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, it is. I think you're seeing that, Mike Eckler, who his Tennessee special teams had success in like every avenue there. He just doesn't want any loose nails. He's trying to hammer it down with options. That doesn't mean Cunanan, who's the new guy, is necessarily going to be 1A or anything, but it adds to the competition. The guy they're bringing in, when he was at Charlotte, he was pretty good at touchbacks too. Had like 21 of 45 his freshman year. I was just writing it, so that's why it's in my head. And I wasn't carrying around that stat for the last 2 years of what the Charlotte kicker had touchback wise in 23. But he's pretty good at that. And Brian Buschini actually handled most of those duties, so he could be an option there. And, it's just sort of been weird with the injuries there. You had Alvano, who had the groin injury last year that kind of took him out of it. John Hull comes on with momentum, but then he has like a quad strain in the spring, and so it's Alvano out there kicking. And I just talked to the new guy, Cunanan, and they liked his ball striking. And once he jumped in the portal, Nebraska showed an interest. He visited here yesterday, felt like a fit. He was good to go by the end of the night. He was coming to Nebraska. He'll be here in a month. So there you go. There's 3 kickers again.
Interesting. Side question. What's up with Nebraska and always having kickers injured? I've never seen, this has been a real struggle now over the last handful of years. It just feels like there's always something wrong at that position with an injury, no less.
Yeah, that does seem weird. And it hasn't been like an injury, like a guy breaks loose and it's making a tackle or anything. It's been, it's been other things. And so who was it that was injured like 2 or 3 years ago? Was that Culp or somebody else?
Well, Barrett Pickering was,
yes.
Yeah, he got hurt. And then the guy after him, I think, got hurt. That led to like 4 kickers that year.
Yeah, they picked up a guy from Lead Bellies who kicked a little bit.
That's right.
That's not even a joke. That's true.
I know they did. Yeah,
he was a waiter down there, and that was the year we thought we were going to be kickering with Pickering all season, and we weren't. And so I don't know what's up with that. It's been bizarre, and it's been hard to get consistency with that. Certainly, I don't count out. Alvano or John Hull just because of this news, but you got to chart them now and just see who puts it down the best, who puts the best numbers together. And this guy they're bringing in has a strong leg. Nebraska's not an easy place to kick. I think it's tough within that stadium with the winds, and you have to get used to it. So we'll see how he adjusts to that. But it's on. And again, it just sort of, I think the point here is, we see this with a kicker edition and Mike Eckler obviously wanting to go to a rugby style punter and making a move there. he's going to make hard personnel decisions. He has to get this right. And so I think in some ways that'll encourage Husker fans to see that aggressiveness.
Brian Christopherson's with us from Husker 24/7, joining us on the hotline now. BC, so the story that we've been following this week is the running back situation with Marty Brown. He ends up at Miami. And so let's go zoom back now and go bigger picture at that running back spot. I have sensed, as I'm sure you have as well, the I don't know, they seem to be okay with not adding another piece. I mean, it was one of the things going into spring, like, hey, are you going to add a running back? We'll see. You know, they like the guys that they have in that room. I guess, first of all, to not lead you on so much, but like, do you sense that? And why do you think that is, that they seem so comfortable with what they have in the room at running back?
Yes, I do sense that. Matt Rule has spoken about Quentin Ives with confidence, like every time the running backs have come up for like the last year and a half. And I don't know, maybe one reason is, besides what they've seen since they've been in Nebraska, you know, EJ Barthel tracked these guys since they were like 15, 16 years old. Like he was recruiting Quentin Ives pretty early on and at least watching him develop as a player. And I think just has a belief that he's got the goods. Like it's just been a process of you're getting a little bit better at this over here and a little bit better at that over there. And it's going to come together. I think there's also, you know, and Barthel brought this up in a press conference last month, you know, a year ago at this time, and I repeat myself a lot on this, but this is important to note. I mean, we didn't know what Dante Dowdell was going to be coming out of the spring. Like that was very unclear still at this point a year ago. Like he had a pretty good spring game. He had a nice run that was well blocked, but people are like, I don't know who's, you know, there were older guys in the room at that point. So you felt a little like there was more of a cushion there, but I don't think everyone was just predicting in May that Dowdell was going to necessarily be the automatic top two back and successful like he was.
We all thought he was kind of, you know, in the doghouse a little bit. You know, like we couldn't figure out why he wasn't really breaking onto the scene.
I guess if you want to be optimistic, Ives is the same, you know, he's up to 215 and they say like he is elusive and catches passes very well for his size. And if there was one knock on Dowdell, it was, of course, how often did you hear Rule talk about the backs where he said, we've got to start hitting those home runs.
Yeah,
you know, like those 10 to 15-yard plays have to be 50-yarders at some point. And so if Ives or somebody else can at least kind of match the thump Dowdell had and then bring even just a few more explosives that he wasn't quite able to get over the hump with a season ago, who knows? Maybe you're in the same spot and a little bit better. I'm like everybody else. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. They've got to prove it. I understand why there's anxiousness about it. I mean, you've got Emmett Johnson, who's looking really good in Holgerson's offense, and then basically have a whole room of guys who have not played college football. And so you better believe for the next 3 months or whatever, we're going to have these conversations, you know, a record spinning on repeat about like, you know, are they going to be able to have the goods? Are they going to get it done there? They do have confidence, and it would be nice though, like if in August we really heard like a third guy was popping on the scene. Like you started to hear other players talk about whether it's like Mekhi Nelson or Connor Booth or Jamarian Parker, who unfortunately was sort of out this spring with some injury or he's limited. So that hurt him a little bit, but they need that third and fourth guy to emerge. I don't think you're going to get it done, honestly, with just two. In this day and age, you got to have at least three.
Is there, I mean, we saw the touch share go up big time for Emmett Johnson and you know, since Dana Holgerson took over. Like, I don't even think there's a world, because I've heard this argument this week. Oh, well, maybe they'll just, you know, maybe this signals they're going to throw it around a little bit more or something like I don't get the sense of that either. I mean, they still want to have a really good run game, and Holgerson has said and confirmed as much this offseason. So it's not like they're going to, you know, reposition the way that they think about running back. They still need that position to be good.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that I was just thinking about as you're talking there is they did run the ball okay or well in the spring. That's what we heard.
Yeah.
And we heard that from Vincent Shavers. Shavers was asked, what's the offense doing well? And from the other side of the ball, his perspective was they're good at running it. Those O linemen have been getting on, he said, his group. And, when they get their hands on you, they're tough to get off. And so it did sound like there was some success there. And so maybe that plays into why coaches, are feeling like we've got the group. We just got to keep developing these next 4 months, and there's going to be enough there. It's a big bet. I mean, if it doesn't work out and they look like they just don't have the answers after Emmett, certainly it's going to be something that we just talk about throughout the season. So they've got to be right on it. But, I'm a little naive sometimes, but I tend to trust guys who see all the practices and have a lot on the line as coaches to get it right,
Sure.
that they have an idea what's going on. So you hope they nailed it on this one.
BC, before we let you go, we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show. I am in the stage of the off season that I am calling the schedule memorization process. Have you have you memorized Nebraska's schedule for next year yet?
No,
okay.
I haven't.
Okay.
I can give you the basic teams, and as you're saying that, I'm Googling it to help myself out.
Go ahead.
So that's where I'm at.
Because this is the thought that I would like to bounce off of you. I really have been trying to sear this into my brain over the last day or two now. And what I've found just from staring at it a lot, and this only comes from staring at it a lot, is that I really like this schedule. Not necessarily for wins and losses or whatever, but it has the premier big home game to start off conference play in late September. That's a big one. It's got a couple good road trips in there. Good trip to the Rose Bowl. The really, the tough one against Penn State late in the season. That'll be a barometer for you. All this is played out, of course, in theory. But I don't know. I'm looking at the schedule. I'm I really like this schedule. Your thoughts on the schedule?
It's an awesome schedule.
Thank you.
For some of the reasons you mentioned, going to the Rose Bowl is great, but the trip to Arrowhead to start it off with probably 80% Nebraska fans, that's pretty awesome. The fact that Michigan's coming in so early, I think that's beneficial for Nebraska to get a young quarterback earlier than later, you would think. And that if Nebraska handles business those first 3 games, that place will be on fire that night. It'll be similar to Colorado in atmosphere if Nebraska rolls into that one 3-0. And as I'm looking at it too, Connor, as we're trying to memorize the schedule, there's some easy technique here. It's to start Big Ten play. It's Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota.
Whoa. Yeah.
The 4 M's.
The M's.
And then actually the next one's Northwestern, so kind of going in alphabetical for a little bit there. 4 M's, then an N.
Then the U's.
And then 2 U's. And then, I don't know, it's Penn State, Iowa. I don't know. You'd have to figure out something for that to finish it off for your memorization.
Yeah, there's no mnemonic device that we could use, the M-M-N-U. I don't think we could do that. But if that helps you, if that helps you remember, that's good.
So if I contributed anything in this segment, it's 4 M's to start the Big Ten schedule. So that should help us.
Yeah, really helpful. So we'll check up on where we're at in this period next week. BC, enjoy your weekend. Good to talk as always. See you later.
Yep. Thanks, Connor.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 247. We're going to talk about this in the noon hour. I've been just trying to sear this thing into my eyeballs.
We're going to get it
because we're getting close to game times. We're getting close. There's going to be something that comes. There's going to be I bet there's a game time, like a leak of or conversation about game times somewhere around whether it be Fox or ESPN. Something's going to happen on that front next week.
Ooh.
I have no knowledge of this. This is not an inside thing at all. I just going by the college football calendar. We're going to get something next week. Gold.
It's always exciting.
Oh, I love it. So I'm going to try and sear this thing into my brain. We'll talk about this in the noon hour. Mitchell writes in more on the mnemonic devices here. Penn State, Iowa, P-I, pie for dessert. The last 2 games.
Love a little pie for dessert.
A little pie for dessert. All right, back with the odd news next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right. You know, eating popcorn is, I felt like, because I had to type some stuff on my computer, but I had popcorn fingers on one hand. So I felt like John. It's a lot like that.
We'll get you a big block.
I should tell him that.
With German. Yeah, like, hey, I know what it's like to be John Bishop. I'm
I-
sure he'd love to hear that.
I ate popcorn today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Josh, what do we got today?
Just got so many questions for that man that I'm not going to get answered.
Mm.
You remember Luigi, right? Luigi Mangione?
The guy who killed that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His legend is growing.
Oh, no, it's not.
Well, hold off your judgment before you say that.
Would they make him a trading card?
Close. He's the subject of an upcoming musical, and it's the hottest ticket in San Francisco.
Sure it is.
Luigi is the inspiration behind a musical comedy coming to the Taylor Street Theater in San Francisco.
Yeah, all this is really funny.
And the play's entire run is sold out. Luigi, the musical, will also feature Diddy as a character, with scenes and musical numbers centered around Luigi's time at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where the two are held in custody. The musical's official synopsis says the production is, quote, a wildly irreverent, razor-sharp comedy that imagines the true story of Luigi Mangione, the alleged corporate assassin turned accidental folk hero. Luigi navigates friendship, justice, and the absurdity of viral fame. It's set to debut in June, but it's already sold out, Connor.
The legend grows.
Mm-hmm. Your thoughts?
Well, he'll probably want to make some money off of this, sitting in his jail cell, hanging out with Diddy.
Yeah, you think they're like buds, or think they hang out? Think they watch like the Feud together?
I don't think anybody. I don't think either of those two should be hanging out with anyone.
Okay,
considering the things that they have done.
Solitary.
There shouldn't be any.
Put him in the hole.
Yeah, put him in the shoe. I'd put it. If I was running a jail, I'd put everybody in the shoe. You're in the shoe.
You're all in the shoe.
Yeah, you're all in the shoe.
This is the shoe, Jack.
How many shoes do you got?
You can call me Old Mother Hubbard because you live in a shoe.
The whole thing is a shoe.
We go to Kentucky for story number 2. Days after claiming a $167 million Powerball jackpot, a Kentucky man is behind bars, charged with kicking a cop in the face during a melee at an oceanfront hotel in Florida.
Sure.
According to court records, James Farthing, a 50-year-old ex-convict, was arrested Tuesday.
Farthing
on felony and misdemeanor charges in connection with a fracas.
Large farva.
Want a liter of
A
cola?
large farva.
At a resort in St. Pete. Farthing was at the resort with Jacqueline Fightmaster, his 42-year-old girlfriend. I'm just reading the story as it's written, people. Farthing and Fightmaster appeared Tuesday at a Kentucky lottery press conference announcing the Powerball win. Farthing, who won the jackpot, lives 15 miles north of Lexington, Kentucky. On Tuesday evening, one day after posting with an oversized check, Farthing punched a male victim in the face. The cops showed up, where he then proceeded to escalate things by kicking one of the officers in the face, according to body cam footage.
Hey, just because you won the lottery doesn't mean you can start punching and kicking people in the face.
Right. Now, I know you're going to get drunk and you're going to go, oh my gosh, I won the Powerball. You can't scuff my cowboy boots. I'm a lottery winner.
The last thing
no, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
Well, I guess. I would just be thinking the last place I would want to be if I just won $1 billion or whatever would be jail. Somewhere where your money is no good. It's the only place maybe on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really.
I don't think they let you like put money in the commissary. Like, hey, I've got money in my bank. You just put it in the commissary.
You can, but you're limited to buying snacks.
Mm-hmm. Those chips you had that one time with
the prison
Schaefer.
chips.
Yeah,
the prison chips
that were delicious.
They're not. Nah, they're not that good.
Oh, okay.
A little too salty.
Also, if you're hanging out with a person named Fightmaster and get in fights, boy, I mean, you're going to end up on the odd news segments.
Yeah, you almost certainly are.
You can't be doing that. And finally, a very, very gross story that I find funny.
Okay. Is it about puke?
No, other end.
Poop?
Yes.
All right.
Yesterday I saw this story and I decided, no, it's too gross. I don't want to necessarily be talking about poop on the air. But we have comment from the pooper, so it's funnier than it was yesterday. A Pennsylvania woman that cops say admitted to pooping on someone else's car as part of a road rage incident apparently had a lot to say about the matter. Police say she bragged about a clean poop that did not require toilet paper.
All right. All right.
According to new legal documents obtained by TMZ, the alleged Delco pooper, Christina Solometto, told police, quote, "It was a clean poop. I didn't even have to wipe." Cops say she was arrested Thursday. She allegedly dropped a deuce on the hood of another motorist's car after being upset with their driving. And there's video of this, by the way. It exists on TMZ. I've seen it. I've seen it.
But it was clean.
And she's now facing charges of indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, harassment, and disposing waste on the highway. You can't do that. New video shows Christina being arrested by 2 officers, and police say they came to her home to pick her up after she admitted to being the Delco pooper.
It seems like she was awfully proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Cops say Christina had a clear reason for pooping on the car hood. They say that she told them, "The other car called me a fat B word, and it made her angry.
Sure.
I wanted to punch her in the face, but I pooped on her car instead and went home."
Wow.
What a tale.
It is funnier.
It is funnier with the quotes.
It is funnier with the quotes.
I'm glad I waited a day.
Yeah, she seemed really proud of the fact of, of everything she did.
In her mugshot, she is smiling.
Yeah.
It's a bleep-eating grin, you could say.
Nice one, Josh.
Beat you to it, TC.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. When we return, we take you into the schedule memorization process. We will talk about what Coach Mac had to say yesterday.
Big Mac?
On the Big Mac, Mr. Big Mac on the radio and on Sportsmanlike Conduct. Sipple will join us now at 1 o'clock. Come back on Friday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
He has the latest sports news, expert analysis, award-winning commentary, and a pocket full of cabbage.
Can you give us an indication why?
Just in case there's a sauerkraut emergency.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Noon hour, the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. It was nice last night to be to celebrate Josh Peterson celebrating his podcast ending last night. That was the original purpose, I believe, of the meeting.
Do you normally celebrate?
I don't know.
Something like that?
No, it was the original invite that I received was, hey, we are celebrating Josh's 100th episode of his podcast.
Yes.
This may have been before the decision to discontinue the podcast, the running podcast. But I think it was more of a celebration of him like running the marathon that he was very proud of. And so a bunch of people were there. We all hung out with Josh.
I forgot about it until I got home.
Josh Hodson forgot about it entirely.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
But by the time you got home, you were like,
I'm home.
It's right up the street, but
I'm home.
I'm home. And this is where I stop for the remainder of the night. And I don't blame you. But Josh Peterson himself took a picture and put it on the internet, as he does sometimes. Here it is. And he if you're watching along with this on YouTube, that is Mike Schaefer, Michael Severe in the foreground. Michael Severe looks like he is intently explaining something to Mike Schaefer. And I was once a part of this conversation, but have now
drifted towards to a television.
There is a television, yes. So somebody said that I was looking at, like, it looked like I was looking at the HVACs and the ducts and stuff like that. No, I was watching the TV.
I know the layout of Monolithic. I know you're looking at a TV there.
Texas and Arkansas were playing baseball, and I was watching that.
That's why you tweeted about Cam Kosel.
That's why I tweeted about Cam Kosel last night, and I wondered if that would get Random Bike out of the woodwork today, but not yet. Maybe at some point during the show. So Josh Peterson said, if I could give you, I could give you 1,000 guesses for what they were talking about, and there's no way in hell you'd get it. Now, there's probably no way in hell you'd get it anyway. Right.
There's just so many things one could be talking about.
I think if the picture, I remember what the main talking point of our conversation was. It was a wide-ranging one,
sure,
over a long period of time. But I think the main topic that we were talking about was Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh, I would not have guessed that. These are three of my favorite people in the world to listen to talk.
I like to listen to the other two. So I think we were talking about I don't know, maybe the what was the show? The Winning Time came up. And I don't remember how we got on Hakeem Olajuwon, but Schaefer and Severe were both like in love with Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you guys shared this mutual love of Hakeem Olajuwon.
In the moment, I did not care for Hakeem Olajuwon because he won those two titles, and people were like, "Oh, is he the next this? Is he the next that?" And I was like, "No, Shaq's better than him. Jordan's better than him."
Yeah,
just because Shaq was cooler.
So we talked about Shaq and Shaq, how Shaq didn't work very hard. And
correct, that is correct.
If Shaq would have worked hard at all, he would have been incredible. And he already turned out to be incredible.
I saw Shaq's face on the side of an NFM van this weekend.
Shaq is everywhere, folks. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So people on the internet guessed as to what we were talking about, and here are some here are some thoughts. First of all, top comment that I see here from Ray. I just want to know where Connor gets his pants. Strong pant game. And Josh said he's Mr. Pants.
Well, that's your name now, Mr. Pants.
Mr. Pants. I don't think Bad Takes Doug would like that. Daniel says most obese, balding, fatter, or whose takes on Husker sports don't matter.
Wow.
We weren't talking about that. So
aggressive for a caption
wrong,
contest.
Daniel. Kevin Kugler wondered if we were talking about the 2016 World Series, which we were not, because Michael doesn't care about baseball and Schaefer hates that World Series.
Yeah.
And I have no real opinions on it. And there I wasn't sharing my opinions either. John Bishop very sadly tweets into the conversation, "I'm sad I couldn't be there. Congrats and have a fun night."
Oh.
And then I saw that and I said, "Oh, John."
It's sad because of what he actually said, but also knowing that he had to hold his phone up to his mouth and voice to text tweet it.
It's so bad. VJ, obviously Michael is explaining to Shafe why Serena Williams' genetics are perfect, while Connor thinks about how he can figure out and fix the gathering condensation on the exposed HVAC return ducts. No, incorrect. Dave writes in, Grand Island is neither grand nor an island.
Discuss.
Fremont Fred, Severe talking about something that happened while he was in the army. No. Corey.
Thank you for your service.
Only thing I could possibly think of is the Amazing Horse song. I have no idea what that's about.
Oh, you don't remember the Amazing Horse song?
No.
Look at my horse is amazing. No. Sweet lemonade, sweet lemon. Oh.
What?
This song got played at least 11 times a day on the Zone at one point in time.
Okay. Travis.
Hi, Travis.
Have you seen Michael's video?
Well, here's what I was doing.
The 6-inch soles on Michael's shoes. Someone said, where'd the picture go?
I hit spacebar. Oh, wow. Did you know that did that?
No, I didn't do that. Hey, wow, look at his shoes. Oh, look at those shoes. Their favorite spots to land on Fortnite OG, nuclear physics. One does not simply make red beans and rice. The bucket seats, which is interesting. Rick said, based on Connor's reaction, I'm guessing puppies. Wrong. Although I'm sure dogs came up in that conversation at some point. So there you go. Albert Pujols writes in.
Hi, Albert.
Fake news, Albert.
Yeah, fake news, Albert.
Those are nice pants. Nice pants, Albert Pujols said. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody's wearing nice pants in this.
You know who else asked me about my pants recently? Future Creighton baseball head coach Mark Kingston.
Oh.
He said, what kind of pants how many pairs of those pants do you have? And I'm like, thank you for recognizing this, first of all. I shopped at a pants place and that I have talked about that only sells pants for non-fat people.
Lululemon.
Yep. And bought a bunch of them and spent a lot of money, but now I only have those pants. I only have like 4 of those pants, and those are the only pants I wear. And when I'm out of the 4 pants after 4 days, I have to have more laundry done. And that's my pants story. That's my pants story.
Pretty good pants story.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Josh. We also have, so congratulations to Josh. It was a fun time last night. It was enjoyable to have conversations with our dear friends, Mike Schaefer and Michael Severe.
I wish I could have stood there next to you guys pretending to be able to hear what you were saying.
Stibbs was there. Ian was there.
Stibbs.
I don't know. Stibbs is always the life of the party.
Man. I missed out. I should have left my house.
Yeah. Now you're regretting.
I am. I have FOMO.
Travis, where'd you get those pants? The pants store?
Pants store.
I mean, it's the online pants store.
Oh, wow.
They
didn't even have to go in.
They just bring them right to my house. It's great. Aaron writes in, Hakeem Olajuwon is the most underrated player of all time, and Mike's takes usually aren't my favorite since he is a Vikings fan. Yeah, he was super in on the Hakeem Olajuwon conversation.
Okay.
I think that's what it was about. I'm almost certain that's when he snapped that picture. All right. So as we welcome you back here in the noon hour, I wanted to update you guys on where I'm at as far as my off-season sort of schedule is concerned. I realized I can't remember what triggered this in my head yesterday. But I realized that I hadn't memorized the schedule yet. And more so, I realized, and I'm talking about the Nebraska football schedule. And more so, I realized that I hadn't even memorized the teams in which Nebraska is playing yet next year. Remember, there are 9 conference games.
Because the Big Ten is a real conference, unlike the SEC.
The Big Ten has 100 teams, I believe that is the case.
I believe that's the right number.
Josh, do you think you could successfully name the teams that Nebraska plays this year on their schedule?
Not a chance.
I mean, you can get Iowa. You know they're playing Iowa.
I know they're playing Iowa.
You know they're going to play at the Rose Bowl, right? Which means they're playing UCLA. We've talked about this Michigan game a couple times.
They got both Michigans.
Both Michigans, you got it.
I heard you guys talk about Penn State.
There is Penn State on there. So you're missing like 4 at this point. And they're smack dab in the middle. Remember the M's. Remember what BC said, the M's?
Minnesota.
That's another one.
There's one M. Maryland.
That's another one. You're missing 2 games. They're back-to-back weeks. Late October into the first weekend in November. You got it. I believe in you.
Illinois?
No. They don't play Illinois this year. Thank God. They would have been fighting each other.
Yeah, I know.
Over the 14-year-old.
I feel like we just got done playing a bunch of Purdue's in a row. Is Purdue
there's no rhyme or reason to when you play what team. There is no Purdue this year.
Okay.
There's no Purdue.
Rutgers?
There's no Rutgers. You get 2 more guesses before I tell you.
Okay. Washington.
There's no Washington.
Damn it.
Washington and Oregon are on next year.
There's got to be one more West Coast, right?
Yes.
USC comes
You got
here.
it. You got it. You got it.
Okay, so I'm missing one.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I give up. I tap
the
out.
Northwestern Wildcats.
We always play Northwestern.
That is a team in the Big Ten.
That's right.
We didn't play them last year, but they come back to Lincoln on October the 25th. So you just named all of Nebraska's Big Ten opponents. They also play Cincinnati, Akron, and HCU, which I'm told stands for Houston Christian.
That's a basketball team Creighton played.
Yes, that is true, Josh. Wow, honk.
That's where Mac got his
350th win?
Yeah, his win to pass Altman.
Look at that. Honk, Josh.
That's right.
A Creighton basketball reference deep in Husker football country. I'll play it. Honk. Glad that's made its way onto the board.
It's low. I got to boost the volume on it.
Okay. So I'm in the schedule memorization process.
Now, what does that entail? What does that look like?
So I've been kind of just sitting around.
Staring at it?
Just looking at it. Looking at different versions of it on different websites. You know, maybe we should print one out and make it come in here.
That actually might help the whole team.
But I don't want to use it as a crutch. I want to know. I want to have to, like, if somebody comes to me in public, it's like, where's Nebraska at on the weekend of October 25th? I want to be able to tell them it's Northwest. They're playing Northwestern at home. And eventually we will get there. But it's a process. I call it the schedule memorization process. So I've been sitting around. I've been on Huskers.com. I've been on FBschedules.com, really just vacillating between the two and looking at all the logos and all the times and the dates and the places and things like that. So that's really the early part of the schedule memorization process, just staring at it. But let me say this. I already have a takeaway after a couple long stares. Something has revealed itself.
Ooh.
And it can only reveal itself after long, intense stares at the schedule. And here is the revelation that I have had upon and during my intense stares at fbschedules.com. Josh, I love this schedule.
Ooh.
This is a great schedule.
Now, you said not in terms of wins and losses, right?
I haven't thought about that yet. We're not close to the chunks and all that stuff. Like this is a process as it pertains to the schedule. I like the schedule for the common man, for the fan.
Oh.
Because that's what we are after all, Josh.
Definitely.
Or at least that's how we should approach it. I don't know about you crazy people who are like, I'd like to play Houston Christian 12 times so we can make the college football playoff. Thanks. I don't know what kind of impersonation that was, but I hear things like this from you all. I think this is a great schedule. I think this schedule is great for the fans, and I'm about to tell you why. First, a travelable opening neutral site game in Kansas City that is unique, special, and different against, I'll throw in there, it's a winnable game against an opponent that Nebraska should be able to, at the very least, be competitive with in the game. But once again, this is not about the wins and the losses. This is about what it means for the fan. So a travelable, non-Ireland, unique, neutral site game. And I'll add that this game is a non-conference game. So the stakes are not so high that you feel all this pressure and anxiety. Oh my God, we have to win this game. Otherwise I might die. I'll pull a Kendall Roy. I might die. No, you don't have to feel that going into this game. It's almost like a preseason game in a way. Just good vibes, right? Husker football. We're going out of Kansas City. We're going to eat barbecue, and we're going to go play Cincinnati. We'll roll the ball out there. We'll see what happens. I can't wait to see this team in 2025. It's not like the end of the world if you lose. All right?
Right.
That's a good thing. Check. Bullet point number 2. Gigantic conference home opener in September against a name brand program. I love this. I love how this sets up. Michigan is the conference opener this year. It's late September, which means the weather is going to be nice. Nebraska is likely going to be 3-0, going into this game. If not, they're at the very least 2-1. And you're playing a team that it'll be a good barometer game. It's not so difficult where it's like, oh my God, they're playing Ohio State in the first weekend of the cup. No, you're playing Michigan. It's a good barometer game. 2 years ago, they came here and beat the living crap out of you. That was bad.
Yes.
That was really bad. And then they had a Sunday practice and then the whole thing turned around, right? Remember that? So I love that game. I think that's the game of the year for home fans, for the home game.
Okay.
For the home games.
For the homies.
For the homies. That's exactly what I mean by that, Josh. So that's number 2. Only one dumpy road trip.
Oh, Penn State.
No.
Oh.
No.
I'm sorry.
One dumpy road trip.
What's a dumpy road
trip?
trip?
A dumpy road trip. Thank you for asking, Josh. I have a lot of words that we need to familiarize ourselves with.
That's what
here.
the odd news story, that's what she took, a dumpy road trip.
A dumpy road trip means you're going to a place that doesn't have much of a fan base.
Oh, okay.
And it's very far away. There are multiple schools in the Big Ten that qualify for this.
Mm-hmm. It's the Beth Mowins Memorial Classic.
You
right?
got it. That's the game at Maryland.
Sure.
That's the game at Maryland. Nobody in Maryland cares about Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Not even their basketball team, which is like won championships. They don't even care about them. Nobody in Maryland cares about the Terps. It's sad.
Scott Van Pelt.
Except for Scott Van Pelt, and he's trying.
Mm-hmm.
He's
it
really
feels
trying.
like he's trying to be the voice of Maryland,
Yes.
just so Maryland can get some other voices.
It's only it'll be October 11th, so the weather shouldn't be horrendous.
Okay.
But would I be surprised if it was 42 degrees and sleeting? No, I would not be. I would not be at all. So that's the dumpy road. That's the dumpy road trip of the year, Josh. Dumpy road trip of the year. Okay. Another bullet point. I love the road game at Minnesota. I've said this for years, Josh. I love that trip. I think Nebraska-Minnesota is a burgeoning rivalry. I think you're going there at the perfect time of year. It is October 18th. It won't be too cold in Minnesota. However, I say that knowing that I've been to a game with Nebraska and Minnesota in early October before, and it was sleeting and it was horrendous. But I really enjoyed it. I like Minnesota. I like the Twin Cities. You can go out to the lake. It's not that far of a drive. You could do it in the weekend, whatever you want to do. I like that trip. I'm glad Minnesota's back on the schedule. I think Minnesota should be a permanent play for Nebraska. I think Minnesota should be on the schedule every year. That's my personal opinion.
I like it. It's a straight shot. It's
So I'm glad they're on there this year. I like that trip.
It's a good trip.
On the road at the Rose Bowl. Oh my gosh, we're going out to the West Coast and we're going to the Rose Bowl. Nebraska hasn't been to the Rose Bowl. Well, I guess they played in the Rose Bowl when Jonathan Franklin ran over Will Compton, beat him to the sideline a lot in 2011, but they also haven't gone to the Rose Bowl before that since 2001, and that also didn't work out well. So you got some demons to work out against you at the Rose Bowl, but it's the Rose Bowl, Josh.
Gosh,
and the sun will set behind the San Gabriels, but just a lot later.
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to go to that game, Husker fan?
Wouldn't you love it? Wouldn't you love it? At Penn State. It's a little too late in the year for my liking, but it's a good kind of barometer. You know, it's not an easy trip for fans.
No. Did they get that extra airport
this is probably
Franklin was asking for?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is probably more of a net negative, this being on the schedule at that portion of time, but it is a bullet point. And then Iowa at home. I really have no takes in the potential record yet. And keep in mind that those internal conversations can only take place after the schedule memorization process is complete.
True.
Sear this into your brains. Remember it. Think about it. Understand it. And become one with it. And there is your schedule for the 2025 season. Are you ready to hear it out loud one time? Cincinnati, Akron, Houston Christian, Michigan, by Michigan State. That's right. The first 5 games are either at home or at Arrowhead Stadium. At Maryland, at Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, at UCLA, bye week, at Penn State, home against Iowa, on Black Friday. People forget about them playing on Black Friday. There's your schedule. The mnemonic devices that we used earlier, good luck coming up with something. But as long as you remember Cincinnati, Akron, Houston Christian, you got the 4 M's, Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota. You got the N, you got the 2 U's back to back. USC at home, at UCLA, and then Penn State and Iowa. You can remember that. We're not that far off.
Oh, I got it.
We're not that far off.
Tell me if this works since you have it in front of your face and I don't.
Okay.
Cali pie.
There's an N. There's an N after the M's.
Okay.
North Cali pie. That works.
Even though you're playing the SoCal schools.
But you could try and remember that just as long as you don't forget Northwestern.
Right.
Cali pie, but I can't forget Northwestern. If you can remember that, you might remember the schedule.
Once again, forgetting Chicago in all of its greatness.
Very interesting. Chris writes in.
Hi, Chris.
Full question. Do you enjoy a dumpy road trip?
All right.
I don't. I don't need the dumpy road trip
It's
on the
dumpy.
schedule. It's dumpy. That's the whole point of it. Jeff writes in, speaking of dumpy.
Hi, Jeff.
Would you have liked to play Wisconsin this year? Or I would have liked to play Wisconsin this year. They are going to be dumpy.
Yeah.
I like the Wisconsin road trip, and if you could add in the fact that you're going to like a common, like a good place to travel to, and the team stinks, aka Northwestern for all of these years. There's a reason why people take over their home stadium every single year. That's always a fun trip because you get to it's short. You get to go to Chicago, whatever. You take over, and then you win a football game and you come home. Schedule memorization process is underway. Platcat writes in.
Hi, Platcat.
Hope USC guy makes his way to Lincoln. Platcat loves the USC guy.
Oh,
he loves
we'll
the
be
USC.
calling that guy. Don't worry.
We have to call him for summer school, which is coming up in a month or 2.
Sure.
Maybe 3 after the College World Series.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Going back to yesterday, we will catch up on what Greg McDermott had to say on unsportsmanlike conduct when we return.
Big Mac.
On 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
All right, a couple emails from you all regarding the schedule and the schedule memorization period. John emails in.
Hi, John.
If Nebraska is playing a basketball team in a football game, that should be a win. I agree. They should beat Houston Christian. But I believe it is their football team. They have one.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be funny to trot 5 guys out there.
Yeah. I think Nebraska will win either way.
Okay.
And then Larry writes in.
Hi, Larry.
Larry said, "You're wrong about Cincinnati. Nebraska must beat Cincinnati. The pressure to win is high. If 2025 is going to finally be the year, it can't start with a loss to the Bearcats in front of 60,000 plus Husker fans." Okay, now we have a topic. Now we have a topic, Josh.
I would agree that
how big is the Cincinnati game? Let's go.
You don't want to lose it, but you should win it.
Yeah, but how is that different from any game ever?
Right.
I'm just saying, it doesn't pack as much of a punch as Rule's first game in 2022 or 2023, the Minnesota game, right?
It's going to be 60,000 Nebraska fans there.
It doesn't pack as much of a punch as the Illinois game in 2021. It doesn't pack as much of a punch as the Ireland game in 2022. Those are all conference games. I'm sorry. I think it would behoove Nebraska to win the football game. There's no doubt about it. But is it as important to where they want to go? You want to rack up wins, right? And if they lose the first one, the path to 10 certainly shrinks and narrows. So I get it from that standpoint, but I don't know. Is it the most important game in the world? I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of, God, what a great phone system. Try again. Don't say anything, Josh. Don't say anything.
They won't let me.
Don't say anything.
They won't let me.
Don't say anything. Do not say anything.
Don't say a word.
It's gonna start ringing again. You know that, right?
Oh, I know.
Okay, all right. NU Tenskers writes in.
Hi, NU Tenskers.
How's DR15 gonna react to playing in PM15's house in KC versus Sin?
So many TikToks.
That is a lot of abbreviations.
It is. You must be fun to text with.
I don't think he'll react at all. I think he will.
They're going to do so many TikToks together.
Okay, but during the game?
During the game, no.
He'll play a football game. It won't.
Here's Patrick Mahomes. He was obligated to show up to the game. He's in one suite. Travis Kelce's in another because Travis Kelce went to Cincinnati.
He loves Omaha, though. He loves the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sort of controversial considering Cincinnati and their zoo. Don't they fancy themselves a big zoo? Famously, the zoo in which Harambe passed away.
That's right.
Tragically.
Maybe that's what they're famous for.
Yeah. Swift writes in.
Hi, Swift.
I think it projects poorly for Nebraska if they lose, though. Certainly.
Yes.
Certainly. Chris wants to ramp up the importance of this game.
Ooh.
He says, let's make it feel important by doing an onside kick.
Well, that's how you know. You got to have it.
All right. Nebraska gets up by 11. Midway through the third quarter. Feeling comfortable, feeling good. That's when you hit them.
Mike Eckler walks up to Matt Rule.
I want to do it
now.
I want to do it
now.
What if he does that? He's like, no, you don't understand, Matt. We are releasing the demons today. We're releasing the demons today.
Okay, so
we are shedding all of that weight.
If they did it and it worked, I would wake up.
They might win the national championship.
I would run through my neighborhood like, oh my gosh, they did it. They did it.
Scott Frost is really gone. He's finally dead. We don't have to worry about him anymore.
The bad man can't hurt me.
He truly is. Truly is. All right, yesterday on Unsportsmanlike Conduct, Greg McDermott joined the show to talk about a variety of different things.
I'll bet he did.
Talked about the roster, the deep roster that they have now assembled. So he mentioned the experience that they had at the tournament against Auburn, where they were kind of just throwing lines. I mean, they were throwing up a whole bunch of stuff at Creighton. And Creighton made a whole bunch of shots in that game, and they stuck in it that way. But you felt lucky to sort of be in there as you pull yourself away from it, looking back several weeks later at this point. But he said one of his takeaways from the tournament, not just that game, but the rest of the tournament after Creighton was eliminated, was he looked around and saw that depth was a really big deal, that depth was a difference. And so purposefully, he was thinking about that when he assembled this team and all the people that are on it. He said he did not want to, said there was a point in time where he was playing, 7, 8, 9 guys for 12, 14, 20 minutes a game, whatever it might be. And he felt like, this is a roster that if it continues to look the way it does right now, then he has the potential to do that. And then in that conversation, and we mentioned this a couple weeks ago on the show, so if you were listening closely, you may have heard something about this. We're calling it now the Fedor-tuation.
Fedor-tuation?
What do you like? Do you like it, Josh? The Fedor-tuation?
Fedor-tuation.
Yeah.
Is this a situation or a maturation?
It's a situation.
Okay.
It's a situation. What do you think? Grade that nickname, the Fedor. I mean, everything's got to be the something at Creighton now, right? The dinner, the dessert, the meeting, the whatever, the Fedor-tuation. Oh.
I don't love it.
Okay. I tried.
Reminds me of those Dorf videos they used to sell in the middle of the night.
Oh, if anybody can come up with something better about what to call this Fedor situation, the Fedor-tuation. So Mac mentioned what I mentioned a couple weeks ago on the show, which is technically Fedor Zugic is not eligible at the moment. He is whatever they got for him last year apparently was just a 1 year. You're eligible now, and it expires. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I don't know the clerical work that or the contract and the actual language that goes into that conversation. But bottom line is they're not sure if he's going to be eligible. They've tried to jump through some hoops and get him some eligibility. And Max said that they didn't have many bullets left to shoot before they run out on trying to get him eligible. Which, full stop. Let's talk about this real quick. What the hell, NCAA? I mean, so I get it. This situation is odd, right? It's a guy who's played. Let me say this. It's odd, but it's not unheard of.
Right.
It's odd, but it's not unheard of. The guy has come from overseas. He's played professionally, in the international game and whatever it might be. He's played for his country in some things as well. In Fedor's case, it's Montenegro. And he comes and he wants to play college basketball. And you get him the year of eligibility in his freshman season. It takes until, now he was a late ad, but it takes until almost New Year to be able to get that worked through. And then they finally do. And now we have to go back and do the whole process again. What's different? Like, what makes him less eligible this time around than before last time? So I guess that gives me some amount of solace that they're going to be able to figure something out with him. But I mean, there's no eligibility rules for anybody.
Yeah.
These days.
Why are we so strict with?
So what are we? I don't really get it. And we talked about this with Fedor leading up to him being eligible last year. Like, I understand that they don't want to set the precedent of this guy. He was literally playing professional basketball and then wants to come to college basketball and in America and be a freshman and and be an immediate impact player for a program and all that. Like, I get it. It does look weird, but it's not completely unheard of. And I guess I don't know what makes his situation different from the others, and I don't know what that looks like. Once again, that's all in the language that Creighton has to. There's lawyers involved that Creighton has to apply for eligibility to get for him. The other thing that's disappointing that we have come to learn about Fedor over the last year of him being here is that he's an incredible guy. He's awesome. He's an excellent teammate, and he just wants to play basketball. That's not a part of the waiver process. Hey, he's a really good guy, but maybe you're trying to tell a sob story or something like that. He just wants to play basketball, and he's a really good fit here at Creighton, and he wants to get better, and he'll do anything for his team. This has become a much more difficult situation now because we've seen him play, and we know what he brings to the table, and then potentially from a basketball perspective, what he could bring to the table in a year or 2 years. If the NCAA wants to come in and say, hey, look, we'll make you a deal. He can play, but he can't be a sophomore. He can't be he was a freshman last year.
Sure.
Fine, whatever. Let's make a deal, and let's get this guy the ability to play college basketball because that's what he wants to do. And there's not any sinister. There's nothing sinister behind it. It's just, he played last year, and this is a hard thing to. This will be a hard thing for people to put back in the box. So Max said yesterday, hey, we're currently operating like he's not going to be there, but he's going to go through all of this stuff in the off season and whatever it is. And there's a potential that they don't get him eligible, which sucks. I just wanted to say it. You heard it here first. That sucks.
Wow. Brave stance by you.
Thank you. All right. Some ideas.
Okay.
On what to call the Fedor-tuation. Immediately two come in.
Okay.
One from Jacob Padilla and one from Mustache Adam. The same thing. The Zugication? The Zugituation? The Zugituation? Okay.
I see how that's better.
The Fedor-tuation is a little weirder than that. You're probably right. What do you think? Try that one on, Josh. The Zugituation.
Zugituation.
The Zugituation.
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
All right. I'm never going to stop being able to. It's two in my mind now. The Fedor-tuation. Thought it was pretty good, but I guess not. So yeah, I mean, other than that, Mac talked about is, he didn't put out a timeline. I know people are like, oh, what's the timeline on him? I just don't think you're going to hear about that for at least a year.
It's results based.
What do you mean?
I mean, if at the end of the season he's like, that was a good stopping point.
No, see, I actually disagree with that. I think we'll probably. My guess would be, you might be right, but my guess would be that we will know which one is his last season going into that season.
Okay.
Or at least at some point before it ends.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my guess. But I don't.
Better.
But I don't know. I don't know that for sure. And he certainly didn't make it seem like yesterday on the show that he that it was happening, and that it was imminent.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like people have just said 2, and we've been talking about 2 for a long time, ever since it happened. I'll just say from what he said yesterday, it definitely doesn't seem like it's going to be 1.
I think you probably would have said that right out of the gate, right? Hey, he's going to be coaching waiting, and he'll be the guy next year or after a year.
Yeah. It seems like it'll be more than 1 at this point. El Scorcho writes in.
Hi, El Scorcho.
That the Zugituation is unfedortunate. Agreed. It's very unfedortunate. And I hate it for the guy. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back round out the hour next on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host's last statement was deemed to be somewhat comical. Somewhat.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around. And I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
All right, Josh, file this under I had to see this video, so now you have to too.
Oh, no.
By
that
the way,
can't be good.
We do have a report out there from Albert Pujols, who's trying to get his good name back due to reporting fake news earlier about Greg Popovich.
Mm-hmm.
Albert Pujols reporting in our YouTube comments, they are taking selfies in front of garage.
Oh, yeah, you're going to see that this weekend.
I believe Albert Pujols in this case. They're and by they we mean the people who were in town for the shareholders meeting. Welcome, out of towners, listening to 1620 The Zone for your one time all year. We're excited to tell you all the things that have happened over the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has changed.
Well, I mean,
the airport looks a little different.
Yeah, you've noticed the airport probably.
Yeah, that's about it. All right, so I had to see this video, so now you have to watch it as well. There is no sound needed with this,
Okay.
but I want you to watch this because I got triggered watching it, and I'm wondering if it will do the same to you. So those of you who are watching along with this on the YouTube, enjoy this. And for those of you who are listening on the radio, I will explain it as it goes. So here we have some interstate traffic in Cincinnati or somewhere in Ohio, and there's a red van that stops in the middle of the road.
No, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Trying to merge, but they can't now get in the correct lane.
Oh my God.
And now
you idiot!
And look at where the red van goes, Josh.
You can't drive away now.
The red van just goes.
You have to stop.
They just go on 670 West to Dayton, leaving a 5-car pileup behind them on the interstate. Backing up traffic for miles and miles and miles and miles.
Got to be careful here. I want to come to a stop before I merge.
One of the worst things.
They didn't even stop. There are 3.
Let's go back.
There are 3 lanes and then the exit ramp,
Yeah.
right?
So what we're looking at is we have 3 main lanes of traffic this is interstate traffic. And then we have 2 additional lanes for merge. It's an interstate interchange.
Mm-hmm.
So you really don't even have to. There's not a lane changing situation really to be had here because likely there have been warnings for miles and miles and miles about how if you want to go to 670 East, get in the right lane. If you want to go to 670 West, get in the right lane.
The 670 East is labeled airport, so I know there were notifications miles before this.
100%. So when red van rolls in, they realize
they're in lane 2 if we're going left to right.
Nobody has let them in, and they decided to not go past and get off at the next exit, but dead stop in the middle of the interstate when several cars run into each other behind it. Then it is finally able to, as a result of the accident that it has caused, the red van is able to get into the correct lane, at which point it drives away into the place where it needed to go, leaving several cars of wreckage and miles of backup behind it without any repercussion whatsoever.
The police are going to want to talk to you, red van.
Yes. That is quite possibly the worst piece of driving I have ever seen. I've seen some bad stuff, Josh.
There is a clear lane next to the exit ramp for you to, like, you needed to merge 2 lanes over. And that 3rd lane was clear.
It's bad.
People
do this all the time, though. When they're merging on to the interstate or off of the interstate, they'll stop.
We're so bad at merging.
They're so bad because they're so concerned that the people aren't going to let them in. Guess what? If you just go into their and this is probably a not good driving advice. But think about it. If you just go, they're going to see you and slow down. That's how they play it in big cities. That's how they play it in like New York. When you're making a lane change in New York, it is war. You have to just go. You have to just take what is there. And if you see an opening, you have to make it. And they will honk at you.
It's not Nebraska nice, Cotter.
And they will be mad at you. And it seems like you're cutting a person off every time you change a lane, but that's how it goes. And so you got to, you have to be prepared to do that. And please, for the love of God, don't stop in the middle of the interstate. That's the worst thing you could do.
Don't do that.
Jordan writes in.
Hi, Jordan.
Look at the other lanes. Did the same thing happen on the other side? Well, let's go back to our camera shot here. Get Warren out of there, Josh.
Yeah, the
traffic. It looks like rush hour traffic. It's backed up for quite a while, northbound, but southbound 71 to Cincinnati seems to be moving along just fine until Mr. Red Van stops in the middle of the interstate.
I love Platcat's comment. This is in Columbus, Ohio, just north of downtown. I did some makeshift GeoGuessr.
Look at that. Thank you, Platcat. Columbus, Ohio. There you go.
These
are your national champs. These are your national champs. I bet Mr. Red Van was a huge Buckeye fan.
Oh, yeah.
I bet it was the Buckeye guy.
Did you see the Buckeye? The Buckeye
The
guy,
Buckeye
the
guy.
bald guy.
Yes, that idiot.
The players have asked if the markings of the national championship can be removed from the building, so as they don't get too high on their own supply.
What a bunch of weirdos.
They would like to not be reminded they just won a national championship.
Couple other comments. Many comments that just say "wow," which was my reaction to this video.
How did you stumble upon this? Because it isn't.
I don't know. It was from one of those stupid aggregator accounts.
Okay, because it isn't so outrageous that everybody's got to see this.
No, it was just one of those stupid aggregator accounts, and I was on the FYP.
I'm glad you brought it to the show.
Thank you. Mustache Adam writes in, New York traffic is like Nebraska's offensive line since 2014. Very few holes and have to make one on your own. That's exactly right.
That's right.
And guess what? Nebraska's had a bunch of red van drivers as their running backs. Nobody's willing to just make a play. They're stopping. They're slowing down. They're stopping in the middle of the interstate. There's car wrecks behind them.
Just make a play, man.
Baptism by fire. I love how the red van just kept going and took the exit. That's the worst part of it all.
Yeah.
These people will slam on their brakes in the middle of the road, and then they will make you it's the regular road equivalent of a person driving 10 miles an hour below the speed limit and then running through a yellow light, and then you get stopped and you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Great comp. You have to pay for it. And meanwhile, this person's like, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. I'm just driving down the road.
Why is everyone honking?
Sam writes in.
Hi, Sam.
Slammed my brakes on I-80 just now to fully marvel at this great segment. Yeah. I apologize if you were listening to us on the radio.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah. I tried to give some play-by-play.
Rewind with us on YouTube.
Come back. It's worth it.
Probably better for you. Corey says.
Hi, Corey.
A wise man once told me a bad driver never misses their exit. They're always in the wrong place, or something like that. Ah, boy. Good email here from a man who is on your side, Mike McKnight.
Mike, congratulations.
Emails into the show. He has taken a picture from the current disaster zone of I-80 and Giles Street.
Oh, no.
Have you been out to I-80 and Giles Street lately?
I have not.
No. They have taken 2 lanes of traffic away. And that place already bottlenecks like crazy for some godforsaken reason. I don't know why. But Mike writes in, I-80 and Giles, a good place to practice what you preach. Do not go. Do not go to that area or to that part of I haven't gone to Werner Park yet this year, but when I have to at some point in the next couple weeks, I'm not taking the interstate. It's going to take me 45 minutes to get there.
Oh,
it's going to be absurd. I-80 and Giles is a disaster.
Okay.
Right? Bad. All right. We'll be back. Steve Sipple is going to join us on the other side. Thank you for, maybe we'll do a traffic blunder of the week or something like that. I don't think we can come up with one every week, but I like it. Breaking down traffic breakdown. We're the Mel Kiper, We've been misevaluated drivers for years. It's been an embarrassment.
Todd.
Sipple joins next on 1620 The Zone.
Steve Sipple,
Hey! The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay?
Omaha!
Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, joined now on the hotline by Steve Sipple, HuskerOnline.com. Sipple, good afternoon. How are you?
Good. I'm going to walk down the stairwell, and then I'll be out of the. Is it echoey?
It is a little echoey. Yes, it is echoey.
You want to know where I'm at?
Yeah, I do. I didn't want to get too specific, but sure, I do want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the post office.
Oh, you're going up to the studio?
I'm going out of the studio to my truck. So it'll be a little bit better there.
Uh-huh.
I got one more flight of stairs to go down.
Okay. Yep. Good play-by-play.
Then the echo will be gone.
I'm surprised that you get service in the stairwell of the post office.
Yeah. Apparently it's not an issue because that part of the journey is complete. Now I'm headed to the truck. It's raining in Lincoln.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just cloudy. It's not raining here.
All right. What do you got? What do you guys got? What are you guys talking about today?
We were just talking about traffic for a little while. Any interest in traffic?
No, not really. I live in a town where it's not a big issue.
Well, I don't know. The roads in Lincoln are pretty rough.
I should bite my tongue on that thing. That's not true. You're right. Traffic can be kind of a pain here. You're right.
Yeah, Lincoln is actually kind of a pain in the butt to get around. I'll be honest.
Yeah, but not compared to like Seattle and San Francisco and Boston. You know, it's all relative, right?
Yeah, but I think it makes it more annoying. You know, like you should, for the size of Lincoln, you should be able to get from place to place in short order. But instead, the town is still, made like it was in the 1980s when there wasn't that many people here, and now it can't handle this many people.
Okay. I don't like to complain too much.
I'll take care of you in that category.
Which is what we're doing, but yeah, it's seldom a factor in my life. I'll say that.
Are you watching the horses this weekend? I assume you're a big Kentucky Derby fan.
Watching the horses is an interesting way to put it.
You love horses.
I fell off. My horse racing fandom kind of fell off in the last 15 years. I probably will watch it, or at least if I don't watch it, I'll read about it and watch. See, in this world, you don't really have to watch it live because they'll have the race somewhere where you can watch it and on replay. They'll be good. But I think I will. I might even be going to a watch party.
Wow.
On Saturday. So yeah, I might do that if I get done with my. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So thank you to Plattcat, because he knew that we weren't going to remember this. And of course we did not until he just commented in. But we made a note yesterday that we had to ask you about this because I did not remember or possibly even know the story that you wrote about extensively in 2018 regarding Ty Robinson's commitment to Nebraska and the story of the camel, or the neighbor's camel who likes to hang out in Ty Robinson's backyard. I did not know that he had a camel. And I learned that yesterday, and then we stumbled upon your story from 2019, and we thought it was amazing.
I have big remembrance of, I think his mom or some family member is a vet, right? Is that what it says in this story?
Maybe. I just the story about the camel is that it just really liked to hang out in Ty's yard because the yard was big.
Yes. Yeah, I'd have to read through the story. I do remember the interview with Ty. I do remember the camel part. I don't remember the particulars of why there's a camel. I think if you would read it, I think it might say in there the why, like his mom or somebody in the family is a vet or something like that.
So I'll read you a paragraph. You wrote this. Let's be clear on this. The camel's real name is Humphrey. What a fabulous name for a camel. Think about it. But Robinson called him Calvin upon their first meeting and is sticking hard to that name. Even Robinson's friend at school called the camel Calvin. That's a pretty good name, too.
I don't know why I write like that. I don't get that.
You had to interject with a comment about what you thought about the camel name, which I thought was really good.
I do like the name Humphrey, by the way.
Humphrey for a camel? It's pretty good.
Humps, get it? Humphrey?
Exactly.
That's really good. And Humphrey without the hump reference would be really good. Like if the animal has no hump, Humphrey's a good name.
Yeah, it's still a good name for a pet. I agree. Humphrey.
It really is. Humphrey. Yeah. I got to remember that.
Okay. So we wanted to bring that to your attention.
I'm glad you did. I kind of want to go back and read that and find out what the deal was.
Yeah, it's I found it. It's on the internet. We'll forward you a link or something like that. So the story of the week has been Marty Brown. Nebraska ends up not getting his commitment. He ends up at Miami. As you have sort of sorted through that entire situation and now that it's over, how would you characterize Nebraska's urgency in going after Marty Brown in the transfer portal?
I've heard Mike Schaefer talk about it, and he talked about it, and it feels like the way he characterized it, there's a lack of urgency. I've never heard that other than Schaefer, but it's very possible. I would say that backing Schaefer's contention is the fact that it definitely seems like the head coach, Matt Rule, is very comfortable with the room. That's the part of the conversation that I've been hammering on is it's like there's two discussions going on, and this happens a lot actually. There's the sort of the media / fan base discussion, and then there's the internal coach / coaches discussion, and they're seemingly very different. There's some hand wringing among some media and fans, not all, but some, about do they have enough in that room? Well, they have two guys behind Emmett Johnson that have a combined 7 carries in college. And even Emmett, maybe he's not, like a all Big Ten level back. So why not bring in Shamar Brown? By the way, what I've heard is that Shamar Brown, there's some coaches on Nebraska staff that would suggest that Shamar Brown could challenge Emmett for the job. But Rule has quadrupled down on Ives. Internally, I know they like Mekhi Nelson, and I think they feel pretty good about what they have. You need more than 3, by the way. So evidently, they feel pretty good about Jamarian Parker and Connor Booth, and then there's that kid from Lincoln High by way of Detroit who his name's escaping me. He's a walk-on, but these discussions in some ways are interesting and in some ways are maddening. What I wonder is about the money.
Yeah.
If they, for instance, Cal offered a big number, and I'm not going to say what I think it to be, except it's over 500,000. Okay. I don't know that Nebraska could pay that. I don't know that they could, but I just don't think that you just necessarily come up with $500,000 if you're Nebraska. Don't know if you can, and I'm sure you don't want to. So that's part of the discussion. It has to be, but why is it maddening? Because you don't know the particulars. It's impossible.
Right.
I know one particular. And that was Cal put out a remarkable number. And that starts to complicate conversations a little bit.
Okay, so we square that up and how they approach this, and I think you're right. They have doubled, and you're definitely right. Objectively, they have doubled and tripled down on the room that they have at that position, and I think because of that, there's this feeling of like, oh, okay, if we don't get this isn't the end of the world. I would say that closely mirrors kind of their approach in the transfer portal in general. Like, would you say, how does Nebraska approach individual guys that they are targeting in the transfer portal? I know that they're individual case by case basis, but Nebraska has kind of made it clear, it seems, that they're a program that's not going to, they don't want to get in bidding wars, and they're not going to chase after people.
Yeah, I think that's accurate for the most part. There's going to be some where it feels a bit like they're chasing. I think that there was some degree of chase for offensive linemen.
Yep.
God, I want to be careful. They really wanted them and they needed them. Chase might not be a good word for it, but there's a fine line. Like when you're pursuing a partner, like you don't want to look desperate.
Yep.
And Nebraska does a pretty good job of that with the portal. They don't want to be desperate.
But what if they are desperate? Like,
What do you mean? Yeah. They don't.
It's not the worst thing in the world to be desperate if you need, like, they desperately needed a tackle in the portal and they got it.
Yeah, and it was getting down to they'd lost a few guys. That's why, and I should be more clear on what I'm saying sometimes. I think I've been criticized for assuming that people know what I'm talking about. So if you go back to December, they missed some guys. I mean, they missed the Isaiah World. Isaiah World went to Oregon. There's a kid that I believe went to Wake. And then there was one other. And it was getting to be like, well, yeah, you got to get somebody now. And they did. They got Elijah Pritchett. And they paid for it. It's $1 million plus. It's safe to say that. It's $1 million plus. They had to pay $1 million plus. Rocco, Spindler, I'd say there was sort of less desperation, but it was kind of, and they didn't. With Rocco, there was another school that gave him a lot, that would have given him a lot more. And, I think Nebraska was somewhat fortunate that Rocco was willing to go somewhere he liked more for less money. So sometimes it can work out that way. And I think with Shamar Brown, I think it worked out that way for Miami. Miami wasn't going to pay as much as Cal. Nebraska was never going to pay as much as Cal. But I think it's pretty clear the way he kind of slow played Cal that he wasn't about going to Cal. And then the Cal basically, from my understanding, pulled out of the Shamar Brown. They just said, we can't give you forever, and they pulled out. But probably the wise thing to do for Cal, because I don't think he was going to go there.
Yeah. Really, it's interesting in listening to you sort of break all that stuff down. We talk about the money, and that's obviously a huge factor here. But what you were describing, say, about a guy like Spindler, and I think Nebraska's had this with a variety of different players where there's offers out there. Nebraska has what the package that they've put together. Other teams have put together more money or something like that. But ultimately, doesn't it come down to, pairing the money up with what, you feel like is going to be a good fit in a good spot for you and all the traditional recruiting things that we've always talked about out there?
Yeah, it does. And then it's sort of complicated by what you've paid others, level of need. That's why, honestly, this is why you're getting general managers in existence now, because there's a variety of factors that we're not even probably addressing adequately that would necessitate a general manager. You have to assess value based on what the market is, and also what you have on your team and what you've paid others. What I've tried to impart to people this week during the Shamar Brown discussions is it's possible Nebraska wouldn't even be able to come up with $500,000. It's possible, because look at all these guys you're paying. You're paying Winery $1 million plus. You're paying Pritchett $1 million plus. You're paying Dillon. Come on.
Yeah.
Probably $2 million plus. You're paying McCullough probably close. You're a lot. It's high six figures. On and on and on. Vincent Shavers is making a lot of money now. I guarantee there's no way he's got to make money. Ja'Cory Barney's got to make a lot of money. you have some guys that are making well into six figures, a lot of them. So it's not an infinite pot of money. You don't necessarily have $500,000 laying around, So I may be rules listening and rolling his eyes and saying, yeah, we do, but my read is no, not everybody does. Certainly not everybody does. And I wonder if Nebraska does.
Right. Steve Sipple from Husker.
No, not everybody does. I've talked to enough coaches to know, hell, there's programs that you'd expect that could come up with it. They just can't do it.
Right. Yeah. Steve Sipple from HuskerOnline.com is with us. Hey, Sipple, there wasn't much this week from Dannon about the stadium other than like the turf part. I remember him saying several weeks ago about how they felt like, there was going to be some sort of, rollout of a plan at some point, maybe this summer. It didn't seem like we were going to get that anytime soon from what Dannon said this week on the radio. Where do you think what stage is Nebraska at right now as far as the stadium renovation project is concerned?
I think they're still in the design phase. Now I'm just going, but I just briefly read what he said on whatever day that was, Wednesday night on the radio, and I didn't cover it. So I didn't listen to him. So I don't know exactly what he said, but my understanding is that. And I knew that there wasn't any big news. Connor, all I'm going to tell you is this. I don't know. I just know there was nothing forthcoming this week because there was some thought of Troy having a kind of a pre-Husker Games press conference. But that didn't happen because he really didn't have any updates on either the house the house case, the settlement, or state. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. It'll happen when it happens, and if it doesn't happen in the next 6 months, then I'll start to kind of like what's going on here.
Right.
But right now, I assume everything's going fine.
All right, Sipple, we'll let you go. Appreciate you joining as always. Enjoy your weekend watching the horses.
Okay. I'll watch the horses and we'll talk again next week.
All right.
Okay?
See ya.
Bye.
Steve Sipple from HuskerOnline.com. He loves horses, so I figured that'd be good, be good to say out loud to him. Watch the horses.
He seemed so...
You gonna go watch the horses?
Confused by the verbiage. Like, that's what people say.
That's kind of watch it. Yeah. I mean, they say watch the ponies.
The ponies.
Bet the ponies and stuff like that. Or watch the horses, I guess, is a little more stupid than that.
Sure, but same thing.
So, I mean, I appreciate Sipple in general, obviously. But I also appreciate him for putting some numbers to some things. That's kind of interesting. And then, it's been difficult, I think, for people to really square up this whole Marty Brown thing, because from our standpoint, it looks like they need a running back.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And what they say is, we like what we have. But then I think like they're also trying to convince us like, no, we because when people say, I don't know how hard they tried, it just doesn't feel like they really, really wanted it. Like it kind of feels like they want us to know that they did try really hard, to get Marty Brown. It just didn't end up that way. And so like, these are all kind of conflicting ideologies that go up against each other. And so what Plaquette says on YouTube, that whole desperate team set the market thing, he said that once, and then he said it again, and then he said it again, as far as the transfer portal is concerned, the desperate team set the market. But like what I said, what if you are desperate? What if you are desperate?
And I think people...
It's okay to be... It's okay to say, we want to go after this guy because we need you. What's so bad about going after a guy to say and saying to him, we need you bad? You know?
Oh, it's going to upset the other 3-4 guys in that room, right?
I guess.
What do you
guess.
mean you need him bad? I'm here. I've been working all spring for you. I'm out. Deuces.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think people are going to really. Oh,
you
Nebraska
need a
couldn't come up
starter.
with $500,000? Nebraska couldn't
Yeah.
come up with $500,000? What is this, basketball?
See, it's not really the numbers that, because those are really round or I guess square,
Sure.
like they seem like ballpark figures,
Mhm.
right? You know what I mean? So I don't know. But
going rates.
I would pay.
so to speak.
I would pay less attention to that
Mhm.
and more about like the urgency that it seems like they have. And in this case, it seems like they had some. Right? They brought him in and all those things.
Some keyword some.
I don't know. I guess I would call myself officially confused. I'll say it, Josh. I'm confused.
Wow.
How much did they want him, and how much urgency did they go after him with? And
I feel like you probably could have got him if you.
I don't know that to be the case. Maybe Miami just won. Like I don't know.
Right. He could have had the attitude of, I would like you to wow me with an offer. You did not wow me with an offer. You did not recruit me when I wanted you to.
But was it
about
all about the offer? I don't know.
Some people like to be wooed, right? Like we talk about this in
people
professional free agency, right?
Yeah, yes. I don't think it's crazy to want to hear that you're wanted. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I also think, as a local product, not getting recruited the first time by the previous staff, like
he didn't just forget that.
Right. So you're gonna they're gonna have to tell you look, I need to know that you guys want me. And I would imagine that thought would have to be conveyed. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff at play. It seems like with that.
Definitely.
Ultimately, Nebraska has Emmett Johnson and Quentin Ives in their running back room.
They like what they got.
They like what they got. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Whoa.
Oh, Connor.
This is going to be something that makes me mad, isn't it?
Definitely.
All right. I don't know what Josh is doing. He said to me, Connor, I got you coming back here. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm excited to hear what Josh wants to talk about. So what is it?
One of the things in your May preview yesterday that probably should have been in there is an annual right of the NBA playoffs. How on earth could LeBron James and his team have been eliminated? LeBron James is so good. He's the best player on earth. How could he possibly have been eliminated from the playoffs so early, Connor?
Okay.
An MRI on Thursday revealed that Lakers star LeBron James suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain in his left knee in the fourth quarter of Game 5. That's why he was laying on the court for so long, Connor, because he was almost dead.
Hasn't this happened
every offseason ever? Yes, Connor.
I mean, this has happened at least 3 other times where after they get eliminated, it's like, oh, LeBron was actually playing very injured.
He was playing very hurt.
Yeah, he should have been out for 6 to 10 weeks.
A normal player would have retired.
It's weird how that happens.
I'm in the exact same place with you.
I really like this guy.
I'm not a LeBron hater. I like him. I appreciate his game.
But he's
got some quirks that are just grating.
Insufferable. Insufferable. I really want, like, we're trying. You know?
I want to love you.
I really do. I want to hold him up, you know, like the Pope meme. You know, I want to hold him up and be like, wow, our guy, the guy of my generation. This was him. But I can't.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but I can't. Maybe in 20 or 30 years when his career ages, however, I'm sure it'll age very well. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll age, and we won't remember this little crap.
We'll forget a lot of the bugaboos with time passing.
Yeah. Yeah. But right now, it's hard.
I told you I got you.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. Aiden writes it.
Hi, Aiden.
He's 40 and held to a different standard than literally anyone else. That's true.
Oh, definitely.
That's true.
I'm not questioning the injury.
I'm sure he's hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's hurt.
I'm sure it happened.
You know, but the internet loves this one, and who am I to agree with the internet? But the internet loves this one in particular, and it always sticks in my head too. Do you remember when he was asked what his favorite movie was?
Oh yes,
and he said it was The Godfather, and they were like, "What's your favorite line in The Godfather?" And he said, all of them.
It was like, oh my gosh, don't make me pick my favorite child. I could never tell you my favorite part of The Godfather.
He was like fake reading that book because he wanted people to know that he was reading a book. Like, yes, we do hold him to a high standard, but just meet us halfway. Please be a real person for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You were. He was. And then the decision happened and everything changed.
Yeah.
Be nice to Brian Windhorst. What did Brian Windhorst ever do to you? He's our guy. Be nice to him.
I don't know that Windy's ever he's covered LeBron a lot. Yes, Windy got famous for covering LeBron, but I don't think he ever was like unfair or disparaging in his coverage of LeBron, right?
Some would argue that he was. And then you have the stands and the LeBron stands, and they'll support everything he does. And then you're just like, oh my God, I can't deal with these people either.
Just a couple of old men hating on the GOAT.
There's just a lot going on. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to talk about here is a revelation that I had last night. Remember Random Mike's favorite guy, Cam Kosel?
How could I forget?
So he had a 3-run home run last night against Texas. Arkansas beat Texas last night. Texas, I believe, has only lost one one prior time in the SEC this year.
6 total. I know that. That last night being the 6th. Yeah. Series of the weekend in college baseball.
Cam Kosel, the Millard South product, after a year of playing at Vanderbilt, now is at Arkansas, and he's sitting in the middle of their order, hitting .363 with 11 home runs and 52 runs driven in. He's slugging .656. He's on base almost 41% of the time. And the point is, he's good.
Sure seems that
The
way.
point is, he's good.
You're ready to rule, huh?
I am ready to rule on this particular instance. I believe that Cam Kosel is good. They beat Texas 9-0 last night.
Whoa.
Yeah. His 3-run home run made it 5-0 in the early portions of that game. So, and then I got a tweet from Black Cat last night. He's like, I made an investment on Arkansas. And I'm like, this is interesting. So Arkansas is going to come back to the College World Series. And the story about Dave Van Horn is that he hasn't been able to do it, and Arkansas hasn't been able to get there, and all of these things. Maybe Arkansas actually does it this year and they do it behind their, like, there's been a lot of Omaha guys to make the College World Series, Josh. We talk about a couple now every year, it seems like. Bargo last year was the one from Tennessee, but he sort of split time in the outfield. Good player. Really good player. And they'll probably be back in this year, and he's, killing it for them. But what if that was the storyline this year of the College World Series? Random Mike might die. He might have a heart attack.
He would be there.
He would.
He would be there.
He would.
Arkansas's lost the last 3 weekend series.
Yeah, but they're in the SEC.
Right.
They're going to make it.
They're very good still. They were at one time ranked number 1 in the country, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've been one of the top
week.
teams in the country all year long.
I've been trying this year to just kind of
keep an eye on it,
check some boxes, make some mental notes.
Keep an eye on it. Mm-hmm. Just keep an eye on that one.
It'd be a great story for Dave and for Cam.
Keep an eye on that potential burgeoning storyline.
How do we feel about Dave
Van Horn?
Yeah, here locally.
Pro?
Right. Okay.
I
was pretty sure I didn't there's no bad blood, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. 0. I don't think any. I mean, even at the time, I think that was one of the rare ones where people were like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Okay, that's a place you can.
Yeah. And remember, at the time, after he left, Nebraska was like right in the middle of having, because of DVH, Nebraska was right in the middle of having their best teams ever. And then they did have their best team ever without him. The only team at Nebraska that's ever won a College World Series game was managed by was coached by Mike Anderson.
People forget.
With Dave Van Horn's players, but, with Mike Anderson. So people were just like, we're good. You left. You went to Arkansas. They're going to be fine, and we're going to be fine too. We were not fine. As history would tell us, Josh, Nebraska did not end up being fine. That whole Mike Anderson thing did not last.
It did not.
No.
He is not there right now.
And then Nebraska ended up in the Big Ten, and that has made it even worse. So,
it has.
Yeah, that did not age well. But no ill will against DVH around here. I think everybody's a sort of a hog when they come up to the College World Series whenever they make it. One more thing. Actually, was there anything else on the rundown that we should have hit today? Oh, we did I think we talked briefly about Mike Trout.
The local baseball schools.
Local baseball teams. Okay, big swing series for Nebraska baseball. Would behoove them to win the series. I don't think Creighton has to sweep Butler, but wouldn't be a bad thing.
You go ahead and do that.
Go ahead and do that.
You're going to be happy if you do.
Okay, so there's your local baseball. One more thing.
Good roundup.
The NFL is introducing something called rivalries uniforms.
Yeah. What is this?
It takes on its own take on City Edition or City Connect designs.
Don't put it on the internet that they're called City Connect jerseys.
Highlighting regional pride told through bold new looks. The NFL is launching its biggest uniform update since Color Rush, with the new Rivalries program debuting in 2025, inspired by each team's local community. The Nike-led concept will roll out over 4 years, similar to MLB and NBA's alternate uniform series. So get ready for this to be really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. The teams that will get
you got it in
uniforms
front of you?
this year. Are you ready?
I am.
If you are a fan of any team in the AFC East,
Nick,
the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, and the New York Jets, come on down. You're getting a bad uniform this year. If you are a fan of any team in the NFC West,
John Bishop.
Oh, no, John. So bad for John. The Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. You are getting a bad uniform this year. Congratulations. Can't wait to see what horrible designs they have for us. Get ready. These will be horrible.
I know the Titans have continuously said, hey, we're probably not going to wear the Oilers jerseys anymore because they anger everyone when we wear them. So
everyone?
Oh, because every time they wear them, people go, why are you wearing those jerseys? You're not the Houston Oilers. Those should have stayed in Houston.
But people love the creamsicle ones.
Yeah.
For the Bucks, and those are actually overrated.
Well, Tampa Bay hasn't moved.
I guess.
The Titans have said, we got something that's going to look like the Oilers jerseys, but it's our jersey. So, and the AFC South gets their jerseys next year. So that's probably what they're going to do.
Mike writes in.
Hi, Mike.
Will the Rams be wearing blue blocks on their wrists? Interesting. Chance writes in. The New York Jets have the opportunity to do the funniest thing
No,
ever.
Chance.
I don't think there will be any reference to any of that. Chance.
Well, let's look at the calendar.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show
I told producer Josh I desperately want to go home.
on 1620 The Zone.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be.
All right, quick update before the polls. Brandon Mike has called. He is we told him it was a little bit too late, but he did note that he liked Cam Kosel more as a quarterback than a baseball player.
He wanted it on the record.
And don't worry, it is. It is. It certainly is. To the polls. One from yesterday. Was 2014 a bad year for lighting?
Terrible year. We didn't know what we were doing.
64% said yes. Would you classify Mount Vernon as a good house?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I think I would.
55% say yes. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I do not, but I appreciate that others do.
Agreed completely with that statement. 74% say no. Which would you rather have, an old style or a Reuben? Now, I think people are going to vote more old style on this just because, dude, beer. I'd say Reuben. Okay, good. Good on you guys. 67% say Reuben. Did Chance the Rapper fall off? Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's not debatable.
89% say yes. Do you remember the Amazing Horse song? No.
I do.
56% say no.
Sweet lemonade.
And finally, do you enjoy a dumpy road trip?
No.
No.
Not at all.
64% say no. Josh, those are the polls. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching the NBA playoffs. Game 6, Rockets Warriors, 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. A Game 7 would be played Sunday if necessary. Clippers Nuggets will play a Game 7 tomorrow in Denver, 6:30 on TNT. And Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals will be at a time to be determined on Sunday, depending on whether or not there's a Game 7 between the Rockets and the Warriors. The Cavs will host the Pacers on Sunday. NHL, Game 6 between the Jets and the Blues in St. Louis, 7 o'clock tonight on TNT. Winnipeg leads that series 3-2. Game 7 would be at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Avalanche Stars in Dallas tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on ABC. That is a Game 7. Baseball, Padres Pirates on Apple tonight, as well as Cubs Brewers. Twins Red Sox, 3 o'clock tomorrow on FS1. Royals Orioles, 6 o'clock tomorrow night on Big Fox.
The Red Hot Royals?
That's right. Hitting that ball. Hitting it. And Sunday Night Baseball in Atlanta. Dodgers come to Truist to face the Braves on ESPN.
That'll go well.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Softball, Maryland takes on number 20, Nebraska. 4 o'clock today and 11 a.m. Sunday. Both of those games on BTN. It is the final regular season series for the Huskers. Volleyball, also the final weekend of the regular season for the Omaha Supernovas. They're in Grand Rapids tonight to take on the Rise, 6 o'clock on FS2. 151st running of the Kentucky Derby tomorrow, 5:57 post time.
As always, as is tradition, my old Kentucky home.
Coverage begins at, I believe, noon on NBC.
Yeah. I won't be watching until at least 5:30.
That's right. Bob Baffert returning to Churchill Downs following a 3-year suspension.
One of his horses already scratched.
Oh, no.
Rodriguez scratched, but he still has Citizen Bull.
Citizen Bull, okay.
Yes.
And finally this weekend, 9 o'clock Sunday on HBO, the final episode of Righteous Gemstones.
Oh.
Rip, rip, rip.
R.I.P. Josh, I think just meant by saying that. Who do you like in the Kentucky Derby? Tis-tastic?
Journalism? A lot of stories on journalism.
Guy. Journalism is the favorite.
Okay. I don't really know any of the other ones. I mean,
say a word and I'll see how close you are.
Like, the Kentucky Derby often gives me results I don't want, so give me Bob Baffert's horse.
Wow. Okay. You're going for Citizen Bull then.
Sure.
Cool. All right, Josh. We'll see if you cash in on that over the weekend. Appreciate it. That is the show today. If you missed anything, you can find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com. The crossover is next.